What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Hump Day! Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Hump Day! That is such a dated commercial reference. If you're a millennial, you get that reference when the camel was going around. I think it was Progressive that did that. I feel like the, next generation's not going to have, references to commercials and all that because we're not getting them as much as we used to. They used to have these big ad spends and everything. What's everyone up to, though? What's up, Karas? O-Sense, Balloon Magic, Bedrock Master, how's it going? Learning about SS7 attacks. Nice. Yeah, I've had some content about that. There's a few people have talked about it. They're interesting attacks that basically take advantage of the archaic telecom systems that we have due to roaming systems, because a lot of our systems of the past actually used to have implicit trust. And the problem is, as we know, the same thing with humans, because humans tend to be very trusting creatures, animals, however you want to say it, but that's why we get taken in by many scams, and we have to be basically deprogrammed to outright trust people, which is kind of a sad thing to say, because I do believe most people are good, but you do have to stand back sometimes and analyze any situation. You had the door-to-door salesmen, con men literally work on confidence. That's why they're called con men. A lot of people actually I found out didn't know that con man stood for confidence man. But yeah, anyway, it's the same thing as BGP has an issue of implicit trust between routing, and it shocks a lot of people when I explain to them that our entire modern world is built basically on a house of cards that was built back in the 1960s and 70s, more or less, and we can't really move on from it without extreme overhauls that I frankly don't believe we will probably be able to accomplish, I'd say, within the next 10 years or so. SS7 attacks, the way to fix it, and it's because we still have networks out there that are relying on 2G and 3G networks, and the fix for that is, I don't know if 4G has the mitigations, but I know 5G has mitigations. So the problem is, as long as those systems still exist, we will still have vulnerabilities that can be exploited with SS7, which is why I've been, kind of on the point that protecting against SIM swapping attacks is one thing, but an SS7 attack, there's really no defense against except getting rid of it. And the interesting thing, when I recall I was looking into it, the EU is part of the problem why this is not going to be fixed. Because I think it was the EU, maybe it was just the UK. What's SS7? System Signaling 7. It's a system inside of phones, cell phones specifically. Well, actually, cell phones. It has to do with how your phones communicate for roaming. So if you've ever wondered how your phone basically is able to do roaming, it's basically a system where, I'm oversimplifying it a little bit because this is not an area that I have immense knowledge in, but I know enough knowledge in. Where basically, when you're connecting to an overseas provider tower, it will then communicate back to what it sees as the provider assigned to your phone, and then basically just a negotiation there to make sure everything's kosher, because you have your phone number and everything, and that's how it's all done on implicit trust. Now, back in the day, this used to not be so much of an issue because you had very, very limited providers. But the problem is now that we have a booming amount of providers, and a lot of those are called MVNOs, mobile virtual network operators, which don't actually have their infrastructure. They're just reselling others. They're not as on top of systems as, say, some of the big companies out there. So it's a big problem. Because basically somebody can go in, lease a system, and then take over somebody's phone number and intercept their calls and texts. And the interesting thing is, compared to a SIM jack or a SIM swap, is where a SIMJack and a SIM swap, you have awareness that the attack is happening because you lose signal on your personal device that is being attacked. An SS7 attack, you don't lose signal. You don't lose functionality, except when people go to call you or text you, it's being rerouted to them. Is it the simple to do that's wearing? You still have to have a little bit of knowledge, and you have to actually go basically lease the systems that allow this to happen. It's not, in the grand scheme, it's relatively easy to do, but you still have to have knowledge, and there is an investment behind it. So it's not that, you know, like, oh, like any kid could just look up documentation on the internet and then just do it. There's a lot of things that have to line up, but it is a vector that I can foresee being a bigger problem moving forward until we move overall to decom 2G and 3G systems worldwide. The problem is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I believe it's either the UK or the EU or both, maybe, because they actually mandated that you have to have, you know, basically a modem inside your car to collect analytics and data for safety, things like that. I forgot the specifics of it. It's been about a year since I actually looked into this. Those car manufacturers are often using the oldest systems because they are the cheaper. Oh, it's the EU? Okay, I was right. I couldn't remember. I knew it was one of the two. But they, the car manufacturers don't want to put in, you know, like 5G modems. They don't want to put in, you know, even 4G modems. If they can put in a cheap 3G modem and get away with it to do just enough, so be it. Like the price difference, just so you understand, because you have, you know, to worry about volume sales and things like that, is like when I was building my little MNT Pocket Reform that has a cell modem inside of it, a 4G modem, I think, set me back about $80. A 5G modem, which my antennas are capable of, would have set me back close to $300. Now, imagine you scale that out over a ton of vehicles. That's a huge investment for car manufacturers. So I think it's about until 2030-ish, give or take, that this is still going to be a vulnerability. UK inherited some regulations after leaving the EU, though. Okay, yeah. The EU, European regulation in general, is something I at least have some awareness on. But obviously, because it's across the pond, I am not nearly as familiar in depth as, say, the U.S. system. Like, I do understand the EU Parliament and how MEPs play a role, and I even understand, like, some individual governments, like the German Bundestag, you know, British parliamentary procedures. I even understand the Israeli Knesset system and a few others. Once upon a time, I actually studied political science, believe it or not. So there's quite a bit that gets involved with this. Recommended DAP? What do you mean by DAP? Sorry, there's a few things that can be for that acronym. Data protection laws are interesting compared to the US. Oh, audio player. Oh, digital audio player. So I actually came from, I think it's still on my desk here, from when I did show and tell the other day. Maybe, no, I think it's here. So I actually came from, I was using this as an audio player for many years, because I actually liked dedicated audio players. And the funny thing was, it was staring in my face all last stream. I think I just got some spare parts that we can probably use. You know, the old-fashioned iPods. The iPod Classics. Those are not too bad. Of course, the problem is they're aging. The other, but I've recently switched, as in with the past year, switched to, that's gonna bug me. because I know it's around here. I gotta clean my desk again. I just cleaned it, like, not even 2 months ago. I know that sounds like, wow, it's been a while since you cleaned your desk, but I don't really need to clean it that much. It's just more of a disorganized little mess over here. That's gonna bother me. Anyway, yeah, I still have an iPod Classic I kept alive, but I did recently switch to another media player, which recently came out, which is fully open source, fully ready to repair, and has the ability out the box. I think it has a 2000 milliamp battery, USB-C, and Bluetooth. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I'll pull it up. And I love this thing. I actually carry it with me every day. It's called the Tangara. I'll show you what it looks like. Now, the issue is it's from a small company. Right now, they are still planning to have a slight revision of it. So you may have to wait some time for it. But I love it. It can do FLAC and I think OGG codecs. So it can do quite a few things that are pretty interesting. There we go. Okay, hold on. I'm bringing it up. Bringing it up. Sorry, just moving a few windows around. So, if you're not familiar and haven't been on my streams in a lot, one of my favorite sites to peruse very often is the site called Crowd Supply. You find some of the most interesting gadgets, and this is like, I think this is better than Kickstarter. And I think it's a little bit more reputable as well, because Kickstarter, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get, whereas I've never backed a project on here that didn't end up in my hands. Like, I want to get this Discovery dish here for satellite. I want to get this Kraken SDR. I want to get that Lime SDR. There's, like, so many different things over here. And they got a few things in here that's interesting. A tiny PCI Express direct memory access tool that's fully customizable with an open tool chain and gateway. You have even, oh, that's a TPM for a Raspberry Pi. Interesting. They made a trusted platform module for Raspberry Pi. You've got, like, ESP32 JTAG. You've got, biosignal sensor over here. Crowd. Like, you're in a big crowd. The MNT Pocket Reform I've got from here. I love that little laptop. It needs an upgrade, but it's great otherwise. So anyway, back to what I was saying. They have a lot of different categories in here. Now remember, a lot of these are smaller companies, so that doesn't mean, like, you got to make sure the project's funded. There may be a lead time. Like, I ordered that Tangara and backed it a little over a year as one of the original backers until I got it. So this is what I got. The Tangara right here. Polycarbonate case, fully open source, fully ready to repair. It looks just like an iPod. I love this thing. You got volume buttons on the side. I rock this every day. Got addicted to Linux because of you. I know. It's the most addictive substance on Earth. Freedom. But yeah, it's with multiple PCBs. How can I physically connect multiple SSDs to a RPi 5? How many SSDs are you talking? You could do it with a USB 3 to SATA controller, if that's what you're talking about, or USB 3 to NVMe controller. That might be your best bet, but the honest truth is the Raspberry Pi is not the best thing if you're trying to connect to multiple SSDs. There's actually other boards out there that are designed to directly connect in. Yeah, so there's a few options. Like the Rock Pro 64 has a PCI Express X4. I want to build my own NAS. So if you're wanting to build a proper NAS, you'll probably want to look at something else. I am not hating on the Raspberry Pi by any means, but if you're trying to do something properly for a NAS that you want to rely on, you're going to have to look at different hardware. Like even a secondhand used computer would be better than a Raspberry Pi. But I'm trying to remember it. There was a few things I think Odroid might have some stuff. We can look in a second. Let me just finish talking about this. So the Tangara over here, it has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB, Type-C. I didn't even realize it had Wi-Fi. I've had that for a year. But the cool thing about it is it actually uses a standard SD card for the data. So you don't have to worry about, oh no, my drives got corrupted, just replace it. Every piece on here is open source, that, if I can remember where they put it. But right now, it's not available. That's the only issue. The reason why, as they talked about in their news, they wanted to take a break because this was a huge endeavor. They had to send out close to 1,500 of these, and they're a small team. I think there's like 4 or 5 people on this, and a cat. And they learned a lot of lessons that they want to implement on the next iterative version to improve some things. Zima board. Oh, that was the thing I was thinking of. That was another thing that was viable. Sound like Google trying to take away freedom on Android, requiring third-party developers to get verified. Yeah, I was reading that a little bit while I was at work. BTW, is Bluetooth draining battery on a phone? Yes. But the question is if it is actually noticeable to you. That's the question. And that depends on a variety of factors. One, your Bluetooth chip, this protocol that you're using. But for the average person, it's not going to make too much of a difference for most devices. But yeah, so back to the NAS thing, before we start looking at a few other things that I had pulled up for articles and things I wanted to talk about before we get into Helldivers, because apparently they have, you know, Xbox now, or the ability to connect with Xbox. So these are the Zima boards. And you can even see they have a personal NAS over here. Personal NAS setup. You know, they have these little articles to walk you through it. But you can actually get something like this. That's a Zima cube with a bunch of different hard drives. You can fit a ton of hard drives in there. How much does this go for? Probably a little bit more than a Pi. Okay, yeah, that's out of the question. Never mind. At that point, you might as well just get like a QNAP. I'm not really recommending Synology anymore. But you can get like a Zima board. I think they have SATA connections. Yeah, so you can see like they actually have a little tower there. And it's got 2 built-in SATA connections, as you can see over here. Let me see if I can get a good picture of it. Because with SATA, I know you're like talking SSD, but you at least have SATA connections there, 2 gigabit LAN ports, and you have a PCI Express X4 slot. So you can easily take that X4 slot, put a riser in, similar to what I did with my Rock Pro 64. I can show you what I'm talking about. Oh. So this is my Rock Pro 64. This is what used to be my Monero node before I replaced it with a Rock 64 to make it PoE. And if you notice, this is a PCI Express 4 riser that I slotted in an NVMe SSD to host the blockchain on. So you can easily slot that into a Zima board with its PCI Express. So there's a lot of options out there. Like, do not get me wrong. The Raspberry Pi is a great little starter project for many different reasons and, you know, many different projects. I have a few of them. I don't have any 5s because I've gone on to other SBCs because there was the shortage during COVID, but there's a lot of options out there. There's a Zima board. Let's see what Odroid has. Odroid is another company. And if you're in the US, you can easily buy a lot of these single board computers through a company called Ameridroid. I can show you that in a sec. Also, high performance on Samsung, killing it. Yeah. Do you know why Sway doesn't allow or work with NVIDIA? I am not entirely sure. It could just be that their drivers are not really hooked in or optimized for it. I have not really tried Sway on an NVIDIA GPU. I'm still running GNOME on both of my devices that are running an NVIDIA GPU with Linux. So this is Odroid. They're another company out there that does single board computers. I've used them for a while. For different things. You have like the H4 over here, which, let's see, how does this bad boy work? This is running, what CPU? Looks like an Intel Atom CPU, if I'm not mistaken. And you have 4 SATA ports in there, and an NVMe slot. And then you bring your own RAM. So you can easily slot that in. Where are the SATA ports? I am perplexed. Hold on. Am I blind? Oh, they showed it without the headers. So you have 4 SATA ports over here. So you can easily plug those in. So you could easily get like a Z-RAID 5 with a hot swap, or just a regular RAID 5. I'm so used to ZFS, but you could use ButterFS and whatever you want. You can even put an eMMC in there. So like a lot of times with that, I put the OS usually on an eMMC, then I let everything else go free. And then what you could do, if you wanted to get crafty with your NAS, some of them allow SSD caching. So you can then get conventional hard drives, put like a 128 or 256 gig NVMe SSD, and then use that for caching. And I know you can do it with the ZFS, where you can set up a caching disk. So basically the most used files end up going through SSD. So you're getting SSD speeds for your most used files. And then, you know, it'll just fill up from the hard drive whenever you need. There's a lot of concepts you can do with this stuff, but home labbing, you can get as creative as you really allow yourself to be. Yeah, Odroid, decent company. I think they're out of Korea. Now, if you are looking for buying these, I know of a good site that actually is in the USA. I'm not so sure about outside. You can buy Odroids, I think, and stuff directly from them, but this is a company I've used for many years for a lot of my Odroid, my SBC needs, and they have all sorts of companies, even ones I haven't mentioned. So you can go shopping through here. You can see all the different Odroids they have. You got the Radha's over here. You've got Radha's an interesting one. I want to pick one up. This is an interesting board over there. The Yu-Yi-2. That's an interesting name. Yeah. You got the Rock 5. That was an interesting board I wanted to get for a while. I was actually thinking about getting one of these for, if I remember this is the one, I wanted to get these for a graphene sim I wanted to build, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I think this was the one, because they had a 16 gig version, and 16 gigabytes of RAM would have been perfect. Of course, they're a little bit expensive when you get that, but you can get a 4 gig version for 180. But it's got a beefy CPU in it, if I recall. What was the CPU in there? RK3588. So, yeah, pretty good. But, yeah, you have a lot of options. Maybe Amazon Marketplace if outside the US. Yeah, Amazon has a lot of these, but it can be hit or miss if Amazon actually has some of these lesser-known ones. Because there's, like, a lot of interesting boards. Like Pine 64's Quartz. I think that has a neural processor in there. Yeah, the Radha. We got Radha's, Oz, Mango Pies, Banana Pies. Hey, thank you for the follow, Mood. Happy hacking, bud. You got Banana Pies. Of course, you got your, the Rock 5. Model A, meant to look similar to a Raspberry Pi. Some of these are compatible. This is the Odroid HC2. They're sold out. They're discontinued, actually. I actually have 2 of these. These were great. I used them as some of my first non-Raspberry Pi SBCs because you could plug a SATA hard drive directly into them. So back in the day when I was tinkering and experimenting and researching cryptocurrency before all the crypto bros ruined it, I actually had Bitcoin and Monero nodes running off of it until Monero and Bitcoin blockchains actually required a straight up SSD because of the processing that was going on. These are nodes, not miners. They're two different things. What's the best browser for everyday use? I honestly, Firefox for most of my daily needs. Brave if I actually need a browser that actually has Chromium. It's Chromium based because some things work better, like flashing my Meshtastic devices and all that. They need a Chromium thing. And then, of course, you have another cool thing over here that you can do, which is you can get these compute modules. And if you're ever wondering how you can set that up, you can get a really cool device over here. I want to pick one of these up one day. I need more money. That's what I need. I need more money for my hobbies. This is called a Turing Pi. Their site does not work well with dark mode, so brace yourselves. Light mode incoming. Ah! But anyway, they have these things called the Turing Pi, and these are little boards that you can actually slot in multiple compute modules, and each compute module is its own computer. So you could actually, if you want, mix and match. You could have like one be an NVIDIA Jetson in there for some, LLM processing, as people colloquially call it, AI. Hook up all sorts of I/O to it, mix and match. You could set up a Kubernetes cluster in there. Lots of tinkering opportunities there. You got 1 gigabit, managed switch, so it actually gives Ethernet to all of them through the switch internally. It's got two 1 gigabit ports, 2 mini PCI Express slots. You got a lot in there. Real-time clock battery. You've even got HDMI. You got 4 M.2 ports, and I believe each M.2 is electrically connected to each card. And then when it gets to SATA, I think only certain ones get that. But you can mix multiple modules. So, yeah, this is an interesting thing. So you can, like, say, get the... they have their own little module there. Turing RK1 with a Rockchip 3588 with 8 cores and up to 32 gigs of RAM in that little card. So as you can see, look at that. You got the Raspberry Pi compute modules. They swapped it out with the Jetson. You can mix and match, do whatever you want. With single board computers, there's so many different options. Do you recommend Libre boot or Core boot? They're both fine, though most of my stuff is based off of Core boot. The ones that I do have running Core boot, which is primarily my Purism Librem 14. Although it's technically Pure Boot, which is their fork of Core boot that they optimize for their hardware. You ever used Home Assistant? Wonder what you think of it. I haven't gotten around to it. I have a laundry list of things I want to tinker and build. But, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to get around. Never enough money for hobbies. Tech and ham radio. I know, I picked the most expensive hobbies. Sucks. Why can't I just be like into knitting or something? That'd be a cheaper hobby. Thoughts on Framework 16. I haven't gotten my hands on them, so I don't really have much of an opinion other than it exists. But also, I have enough laptops right now. Yeah. No, knitting's expensive. Ask my wife. Okay, I take my opinion back. I apparently wish I had another expensive hobby somehow. You got some BK while getting gas. Oh, I thought you said you got BK and are now having gas. Donated some on TikTok earlier. Wanted to ask you, what did you think, what encryption is the best? Lux or Veracrypt? Two different use cases for both. So, Lux, let me put it this way. I like both. I use both, but for different purposes. Lux is encrypting your entire operating system at boot, and it's primarily in Linux. Veracrypt is able to be used cross-platform. So, like, I use Veracrypt for disks and file containers that I expect to have move around. Lux is what I do by default on every single Linux computer. They are all encrypted at rest. So, 2 different use cases, 2 different purposes, both great. It just really depends on what you're trying to do. And thank you for the follow, Jojo. Yeah, I see I see that chat, SK. Don't worry. I see all the platforms. Do you manage Zscaler? Unfortunately. I just spent the entire day testing out some terraforms that I was building for scaling out and scaling in Zscaler private access connectors based on load for AWS. And yeah, it's been a lot of testing, especially because we have some constraints around the scale inside of things, and we don't want to do it during business hours, which required a Lambda to be able to run, and everything has to be terraformed. So, yeah. I'm not the biggest Zscaler guy, because it's definitely a big project, big product that there's so many aspects to that you could literally have, and I know companies that actually do this, just have a team dedicated to Zscaler. And that's all they do. Got any tips? Just started a job that uses it. They do have some training courses you should take advantage of. You may have to talk to your TAM, your technical account manager. If you don't, really, a lot of it is just the principles of zero trust network access. It also depends on what features your company has, bought, because Zscaler, there's so many aspects to it. There's ZIAs, Zscaler Intelligence. You've got ZPA, Zscaler Private Access, which is the zero trust network access component. ZIA is looking at it, and then you can have the DLP, data leak prevention, parts of it attached to it. You've got ZDX, the Zscaler desktop experience that, can look at the overall performance of individual devices as they operate. Then you've also got Zscaler Deception, which is their HoneyNet honeypot, which is a really good system. I actually really like it. They also have Zscaler Risk Management, formerly known as Avalor, which you can use to feed all your data in and then, make tickets out of, and use it to manage different vulnerabilities. It's, what do they call it? A data fabric or something like that? But yeah, there's a lot to Zscaler. But yeah, there's a lot. They're trying to sell us the honeypots. What's your experience? It's great. I like it. It's actually one of my favorite solutions. I would love if they actually worked with us home labbers to allow us to have a product like that. Because I think if they actually worked to allow versions of their products to home labbers, that would eventually have professionals such as myself learn more about it and want to push it in their network at work, which is how a lot of these products end up getting to corporations. People get comfortable with it, they push it, and then, yeah. It's really cool because it actually can adapt to whatever you design it as. So you can have it look as a vulnerable SSL VPN, just a VPN with messed up SSL settings. You can have it set up as an Apache server. You can have it set up as an F5, a load balancer. You can have it set up, as a SQL database, Active Directory, Windows Server, and purposely have it vulnerable so they waste their time on it. And then the other part of it is not only are the connectors really cool for both on-prem and cloud, but it will feed data into your other systems. So you can actually feed in that data, say, to CrowdStrike, and then have your indicators of attack put in there so that on the host, you now have that layer of defense there. So it's collecting, doing recon, all that threat intel coming in can be fed into your systems. And then while you're at it, if any true hits get found, like say an actual person's a real username and password is there, you can then say tie it into your SSO, like your Okta, maybe even, local Active Directory, depending on how you connect it, things like that. and have the user then have their password reset. It's pretty good. Now, I will put it this way. There are some limitations for an enterprise, but they are willing to work with you because, and this is a problem not just with Zscaler. This is a problem with a lot of different vendors that I have come across. They design products in what they think their perspective is the best idea. But often they develop it in a bubble and they don't work with their clients or survey their clients to ask them how would they use a product, what are they looking for, and even let the client potentially be a guinea pig for these products to tell them good or bad feedback so that they can better improve their products. Like, there's a lot of limitations, like CrowdStrike's SOAR. Oh my God, it's so limiting. Like, the fact that they have you with a Jira integration have to do it as an interactive account rather than being able to do that over an API key or such is an issue, because now you have to create an interactive service account or have it set up under some person's personal account in Jira to create tickets. It's stupid. And then even then, it will only create Jira cards, but not Jira incidents. So yeah, it's an issue. See you later, Diamond. Thanks for hanging out here. Let me see. Discovered Linux. We went down the rabbit hole. Welcome to the fold. And how do I put it? Hold on. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Kali Live creates 4 GB partition on my USB, and I am able to resize it whatever I do or try. That's because you're probably loading it directly from the ISO. Kali isn't really meant to be adjusted or installed and like things like that properly. There's a lot of reasons why I use Parrot OS over Kali. Kali's great to just boot off Alive and then do that. Because if you're trying to actually just, you know, have Kali live and then expand that partition, you'd be probably better off formatting the rest of that partition as like an extended 4 file system and then using that. But in all honesty, I would tell you to probably look at Parrot OS, which is my ethical hacking distribution of choice. Everyone I know hops to Kali at first for one of 2 reasons. You're new, everyone is pointed at it, or 2, you want to look like elite hacker, and it's apparently the thing that they go to. Is Endeavor OS Lite Arch Linux? I haven't really used Endeavor OS. I know a few people that use it. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, it's an Arch. It's Arch based, like Manjaro is. I am for real, and then, oh yeah, Vampire. I added 3 new sounds to my soundboard last night after stream, because after the conversations we had, about different things, you know, like what Roblox is getting accused of and things like that, we have the.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
We also have the,
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And then finally we have the.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
A friend of mine recommends it over Fedora. Everyone's going to have their opinion when it comes to their preferred Linux distribution. The only thing that matters is which one you like. Look, you can take people's recommendations, but their preference doesn't have to be yours. I like Pop OS. I like Cubes OS for my security laptop. I like Debian for my little mini laptop. I like, what's the other one I use? Parrot OS for my other laptop for the ethical hacking. I like them all for different reasons. You may like different. I know some people that do pen testing and stuff with Black Arch. I'm more on the blue team side of things and learning a little bit of red teaming, but yeah. Do the red Roblox oof. Oh, I gotta add that then, I guess. You're gonna have to tell me which one that is. My favorite question in IT security is, I can use SMS as two-factor authentication.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
Are you using graphene for phones? I use graphene on a phone. I also have an iPhone and a Samsung and another iPhone for work. If you can't tell, I use many different tools to get the job done. I'm not one of those, like, purists. I use the best tool to get the job done. Like, look, I have a Windows 11 Enterprise box running my streams, primarily because there's certain Elgato hardware that I haven't figured out how to adapt to Linux yet, and my other capture card stuff, like teleprompter, but there's Windows over here. Maybe my one only Windows box, and it tends to be the most temperamental out of all those machines, because it's Windows. But it's there. And yes, I said Windows 11 Enterprise, not Home or Pro. I've had a Windows 7 Enterprise key for many years, and it's still good. But, yeah. I researched the Librem 5, you're right, it's underwhelming. Yeah, I was really disappointed with that, because I had high hopes for it, but I feel like purism... They hit it out the park with the Librem 14, but they haven't really done any amazing things since. The phone was underwhelming. They created a tablet, which kind of looks interesting, but I have a feeling it's going to be underwhelming. They need to refresh the hardware. We're now on the 14th generation of Intel chips, and the Purism was still using the 10th gen, which is why I'm looking at Nova Custom for the laptop that may replace my Cube's laptop, because it is a European brand that has pretty much all the features. It's using Core Boot and heads to have the same feature set as my Purism Librem's laptop's firmware. The only thing I think it doesn't have is the kill switches, which I kind of liked. What extensions is a need for Firefox? uBlock Origin, Dark Reader. Here, I'll show you. You have Virus Total for browsers, so you can actually use this to analyze different things, send it out. You have the two browser password managers I like is Bitwarden and Proton Pass. They're both locked right now, if you can't tell. This is an interesting thing, X-Browser Sync. You can actually use it to sync your different browsers' bookmarks all together. I have to resync mine. But yeah, I can do it cross-browser syncing as well as sync all the stuff up. And you can even create your own X-Browser Sync server, apparently, too. uBlock Origin isn't bad. And then Dark Reader. I love Dark Reader because, look, dark mode, less dark mode. Okay, and then bad example. Here we go. Dark mode, not dark mode. Dark mode, not dark mode. It doesn't work on every site, but it works a great amount, and you can tweak it and all that. But those are the extensions that I really use. You shouldn't really go extension heavy in your computer, because the extensions will bog down your browser. uBlock Origin unfortunately don't work in Chrome anymore in Chrome. Well, y'all do understand why I was saying, like, Firefox is the better browser. And I know people were blowing the privacy policy thing way out of proportion. Because the problem is, most of y'all aren't lawyers and understand the compliance that actually has to go about things. Like, there's jurisdictions like the California, the CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, which broadly defined selling in ways that we don't understand selling. Merely giving your data to another provider, even if there's no monetary exchange, is considered selling data. So they had to accommodate their privacy policy to be compliant with the CCPA, and they're apparently not the only jurisdiction that do this. Didn't know you can use graphene on an iPhone. I didn't say I use it on an iPhone. I said I use an iPhone. I said I have a phone that has graphene. The reality is, when you deal with cybersecurity people, and many IT people, we don't have just one phone. We have multiple phones. They may not always have service on all the phones, but we have multiple phones because we have to test things. So, like, right now, I have the Samsung, that is my TikTok phone. The iPhone, that does a lot of my personal things. The Graphene OS phone is my DEF CON phone. And then I have the other iPhone that's a work phone. What is the main difference between Parrot and Kali that made you choose Parrot? Parrot's actually designed to be a daily driver. Kali's not. End of discussion. That's really what it comes down to. Kali is better to be running a virtual machine or on a live CD. But if you're looking at a persistent install, Parrot OS is a much better solution. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can even get Parrot OS without all the ethical hacking tools and use it just as a straight-up daily desktop driver if you want. Hi, boys. Yes, I have Firefox as default browser on my Pop OS. So the other thing I do, and you should know this, Linux people, I do not run the out-of-the-box Firefox on my Pop OS. I actually ripped Firefox out to install the Flatpak version. I'm a Flatpak whore. That's freaking cool. Thank you for showing me so much stuff in the tech field. You're very welcome. That's why I do this. Happy hacking, bud. Do you have a recommendation on audio tools for Linux? Like if I want to have a video on speaker but VC in my headset? Very simple. Built into Linux. Pop OS has this out of the box. It's called Pipewire. All right, I'm going to show you something. So I use this tool called Carla, merely just interfaces with Pipewire. And I can then use the patch base. So these are all my audio devices right now. So I just rebooted the system. So as you can see, it's only giving audio right now to my Rodecaster Pro 2. But if you notice, that's just my headphones. But I also have to route audio to the HDMI card that's doing the captures for when we watch videos on here. How do I do that? Well, very simple. I have this script that I put together for a few commands that I frequently call. You may have seen me run this before. It's not in /opt. It's my home folder. And that's all it does right here. Pipewire. So what it does, it's a bash script right here. All it does, restarts Pipewire. So it stops it, sleeps for a couple seconds, starts it. And then what it does is, so restart Pipewire function, as you can see here. And that is the entire function. And then it loads the combined sync module. So it's literally just saying, loading combined module sync. And then it creates the combined sync. Now, what does that mean in practice? All right, I'm going to show you this magic here. Look at my connections. And just like that, we have a combined audio output to all of my audio devices. Audio is going to everything. No extra tools. And you have to pay for this stuff on Mac and Windows to do the same thing. This is out of the box on Pop OS. You just have to install this Carla tool if you want to visualize it. But this is built in out of the box. You literally can install Pop OS, use these same exact commands here, and do exactly what I just did. Yeah, Linux is a way better system. I even edit my videos on here. Like all the video content you see on YouTube, which is then clipped for TikTok and stuff, that's done in this software, KDE and Live, free Libre and open source software. And boom. Edited right here. Pull into my project off my NAS. Look at that. Audio effects, transitions, everything. Cost me nothing, except just some time. You got a bunch of different features in here. And then when you want to go render it, look at this. Out the box. NVENC, H.265, H.264. You want to use AMD, Intel? There you go. Can I edit raw images in GIMP? You should be able to. What open source software can I use to live stream gaming? The software I'm using right now. OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio. It runs on Mac, Windows, and Linux. In fact, it was, I think, really designed for Linux. Open Broadcaster Studio. Just use it. That's what I'm using to multi-stream to all 4 platforms right now. Off of one machine. Now, admittedly, you'll probably want an NVIDIA GPU to do a lot of that stuff because the NVIDIA NVENC encoders are quite better, unless you're willing to get a really, really beefy CPU like a Threadripper or something like that to do a lot of CPU encoding, but most of you don't want to do that kind of investment. I have a 2 PC setup. Not saying you need to do that, just saying I had 2 PCs already here, and I repurposed what I plan to have my CAD machine be my live stream machine. That's it. You have AMD. AMD will work just fine. AMD out the box in Linux. The driver's actually built into the kernel. NVIDIA just works a little bit better. You can probably do fine with AMD, but I can't really speak much to that. Yeah, I knew about Pipewire, but never really dig into it. I'll take a look. Thanks. Do you have recordings of your lives if I need to rewatch an info you gave? Yeah. So, of course, you have the Twitch VOD. And then we are multicast to YouTube. And, by the way, if you're wondering, I can show you this. Let me pull up the other camera so you can see this. Okay. Wow, that was zoomed in. You got massive forehead on that shot. Okay. So this is the camera that's on a gimbal. You see that monitor right there? I'm pulling in all the chats over here. The reason why it's over here is because Twitch terms of service, they don't kind of really want that to be on the stream. Yeah. It's a thing. Now back to the Sony camera. That looks so much better. Yeah. I mainly install APK, but when I launch them, Gplay is telling me that since that doesn't come from Gplay, it's surely a virus and I cannot use it. Yeah, unfortunately, Google is starting to go the way of Apple. So, your option is, you can install Graphene OS, but that requires a Pixel phone, or Calyx OS, which still requires a Pixel phone. You can get a Fairphone. I think, what is it? They use EOS. Not really many other options. Well, you can't. No. What's that? What is the other store I use? Crap. What's the other Android app store that people use? It's mostly for open source software. I can't remember it off the top of my head for some reason. It's not the Google Play Store. There's something else. F-Droid. Yeah. So there's a few options out there. The problem is Google is starting to copy Apple in so many ways that I don't really like. And the thing is, like, with Apple, it's not as much of an issue because Apple did this from out the gate. There's any reason why most people are using Kali over Parrot? Could it just be Kali hype online? It's exactly that. It's exactly that. You'd be surprised the amount of people that I know that just try to install Kali and use it just to look like elite hacker. But the funny thing is, most of us cybersecurity people can determine you're a new beginner by the way that you're just going about using Kali. Most of the people I know just install their ethical hacking tools on any distribution. I mean, there are use cases to use Kali, but there's like so many other options. You have Black Arch, Black Ubuntu, Parrot OS, to name a few. And then you can install any of these tools they have out the box in there. Now, Parrot OS and Kali just have the advantage of they have everything pre-installed. Now, Parrot OS is also more optimized as a desktop operating system than Kali is. There's a few weird things I've come across in Kali. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember there was like a lot of WTF moments. It's also a recommended OS by OffSec. I think that's because they maintain it. They're a little bit biased there, if I remember. Ollie OffSec. I could be wrong there. But yeah, they offer courses and stuff like that. But you can do everything you can do in Kali, you can do really in Parrot OS. They're the same tools. And once you actually understand the difference between the different Linux distributions, really comes down to very few things under the hood. The majority of it is user interface and user experience. Now, there are a few things under the hood, like systemd versus init scripts. You have, KDE, LXDE, XFCE, GNOME, Sway, and, many other desktop environments. Kali is developed by Offensive Security. That's what I thought. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why they hype it, is it's their own thing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that there's a reason why they hype it. Now, I've known about Kali before it was called Kali, back when it was called Backtrack Linux. And that's when I actually got introduced to it. I was playing with it when it was Backtrack Linux. I'm annoyed I can't root my phone. Can somebody research, because I can't find how Realme 14 Pro. So here's what you can do to root your phone, all right? All right, listen to me. You're going to get an apple. You're going to get those seeds. You're going to plant it in it. You're going to stick it outside. And a tree will root itself in your phone. Foolproof. Yeah, different package managers too, and different operating systems. Backtrack 5, the old timers. Yeah. Well, any phone you recommend for using NetHunter? Pine phone. Hands down, Pine phone. This guy. The keyboard is an optional add-on, which I do recommend. Pine phone. You can install NetHunter on this. I know quite a few people that actually use that with it. I just got my dad's old work phone, and so I'll use it as a daily and try to root my current phone just for fun and try other OSs. Yeah. My Pixel's with broken display. Oof. That's quite a bit of an effort, because my Pixel 7a has taken some abuse. Any chance you can answer the question about PGP? What PGP question? Your PGP question came in like a UDP question. It was sent out, but I didn't get it. That's network humor. Do you recommend any particular domain registrar and hosting provider? Hosting provider, it really varies on what you're actually trying to do. Registrar, I use Cloudflare. I like Cloudflare. They work really well. Because you get your CDN, your WAF, and DDoS mitigation, stuff like that built in, and it's pretty good. They offer those services for free, and there's more advanced packages and stuff you can do with it. And they don't overcharge you for the domains. They're actually, like, kind of doing it at cost. Pork Bun is another place to buy it, but I still use Cloudflare. Where would it be the most to store a private PGP key? Yeah, YubiKey. That would be the best place. If you're talking about it. Of course, it's not the most convenient, but it's the most secure because you can put it in a YubiKey. But remember, if you lose that YubiKey, you lose that PGP, so you may want to have multiple PGP signed to it. But there is a way to subkey. I haven't gotten too much into that, but one of my buddies was telling me how he subkeys his stuff. And I wonder if you can use multiple YubiKeys in subkeys. Arch is an OS for not for lazy people. Arch is an OS for people that don't like to touch grass and didn't get the attention from their parents. So now they have to, you know, get that attention by ricing out their desktop so that people will look at them. Was it mean? Perhaps. Is it true? Also perhaps. Have you heard the iPhone user question for Android users, Chief? No, I have not. I'm going to Arch purely for the customization options like Hyperlink and the R because I'm too lazy to build some packages. At that point, you can just go with any operating system that has binary built packages. But where then to store the main key if I go subkey route? Alright, I'm just going to give you a suggestion. It's just a suggestion. Have you considered a floppy disk? And before you ask me, you can buy these brand new. You can. I still have to use them on some old legacy systems from time to time. Can you quickly explain how to get into cybersecurity without wasting time on tutorials, etc.? I have a lot of, a few YouTube videos that I put back a couple of months ago. It shouldn't be too much scrolling. That actually goes into a lot of it. One is called, what the hell is it called? There's two, I think, that I've done on this subject. Let me check it. We also got to get into, you know, some videos that I wanted to watch before we got the Helldiver. La 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 la. Hold up, hold up. The truth about cybersecurity certs, why your resume keeps getting ignored. That's a good video from 4 months ago that has a lot of that information you're looking at. Straight facts, my perspective on, you know, getting a job. Then you have this one over here. Do you need college or boot camps to get into IT and cybersecurity? These are both great videos. They don't have a lot of views, but I spent quite a bit of time getting into that and explaining those subjects. I just like to be able to do what I want with my OS. I mean, I can do that too. Yeah, have you ever heard of this thing called Debian? It allowed you to do the customizations before Arch was even existing. They ask, where do you go when your phone breaks? Wait, what? Oh. I remember my first ever computer was with Arch and I have to compile the kernel and, oh god, Pentium 2 compiling. Yeah, compiling was a pain back in the day. Now imagine, so the kernel wasn't just the only pain point for compiling. You had to actually compile all the applications too, very often. Well, Gen 2 was more heavy on that. R actually allowed you to get some binary packages, but the initial person had to compile it. Yep, we've talked about Google killing off sideloading apps. Install Graphene OS. And then use Veracrypt on the floppy disk to have it encrypted at rest. I mean, you can do that. Just don't get it near a magnet. I was kind of joking. Okay? You can do that if you want. You can totally do that. You can put it on a flash drive. You can, just make sure whatever you do, back it up in several places. 3 different copies, 2 different mediums, and 1 off-site. 3, 2, 1, baby. Arch, isn't it from the Red Hat family? No, Arch is Arch. Arch is its own thing. Red Hat is its own thing. Well, I could listen to you for hours, but it was getting a bit late for my European ass, see ya. And yes, but Hyperland is not on Debian, and I'm currently a too fan of it. I thought it was. I thought I saw some people playing with it. I could be wrong. Nice, thanks. I just find other tutorials repetitive and without a clear path on how to start. Yeah. No, I understand. Now, I'm not giving you, like, straight up, like, do this, do that. I'm giving you a general idea of things to look at and a possible path that you can look at, but also breaking down a lot of the BS, because there's a lot of BS out there, like, oh, you can make 90K in 90 days. No, you can't. It's not impossible, but it is improbable. Hyperlane is a graphic processor, PFF. Oh. What are we doing tonight? Well, we got a couple videos I wanted to look at before I hop into what's it called? Words. Helldivers 2, because apparently now they have Xbox players on there. So we got a couple videos. What was it I was watching? Yeah, so Mudahar made a video on that. We already talked about that. So we beat the, you know... Is there a way to... currently Helldiving. Is there a way to split the PGP private key like in crypto, have different shards that would require more than one piece to recover it? Not exactly. I mean, he could split it into several different places, you know, just cut it off at, you know, text file. It's a text file, really. And then you just cut it off in different places and then know how to place them together. But you're not really able to shard it like you can with Shamir sharding. Because it's a different concept when you're talking about Shamir sharding. Shamir. You know what I'm talking about. Alright, so, I mean, we'll go deeper into some of these videos later, possibly. No, I think that some of these videos will probably go through a bit more later. Yeah, we'll probably do this on Sunday for that. Oh, yeah, because I think we got through most of these anyway. Yeah, for now I find this interesting. Total beginner, now learning C as my first programming language. Well, I hate to break it to you, but when you're talking about, like, going into cybersecurity, you're not really going to be using C all that much in most cybersecurity jobs. Now, if you're talking about, like, straight-up programming, maybe. But I know in my career, mostly it's Python, Bash, PowerShell, Terraform, / OpenTofu. And, yeah. I had 3 Trojans on my PC because of Nexus mods. I wouldn't say it's because of Nexus mods. It's because the mods that you were downloading probably were infected. But it also could be various other things. You naughty boy. Or girl. How cooked is the current marketing? I'm lurking to transfer my experience into DevOps Cloud. There's still jobs out there. But it is a bit tough out there, I will not lie. So should I dump C since I'm not full into it and get into Python, Bash, etc.? If you're looking to get into cybersecurity, like on the engineering side that I do, yeah. Maybe like DevSecOps may have a place for that, but yeah, like I'm just racking my brain thinking about anyone I know in the field that, I mean, can you use C for some projects? Yes. But in terms of what most people are looking for in the cybersecurity career, I haven't ever come across a job that required me to know C. Terraform is auto deployer for clouds. Yeah, but it's well, it's actually infrastructure as code, IAC, but it's becoming more of the mainstay of things, and it makes more sense than manually deploying and setting up assets. Oh yeah, and did you see that? Apparently there was this Rolling Stone top 25 influencer list, and I looked at it, and I'm like, this does not make any sense to me. Like, it feels like it was somebody else's fan page of, like, what their 25 favorite creators were, rather than, like, people that would probably be influential. That was just my take on it. What's up, HBX? What's up, buddy? I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the UK. Oh, there was one video. Yeah, we can save that for another day. Oh, there was this. This was a video I definitely wanted to check at. I got a few others we can save for later. But here we go. Getting dragged back due to random issues. Yeah, I know that. So, one server broke. They lost everything. Haven't seen this video yet. Don't know this creator. But apparently there's a story where they lost everything because of one server. What's your take on the whole side-loading debacle from Google? I've already talked about this, but it's effed. My take would be, go get a Fairphone, install Graphene OS on your Pixel, go, do something that with a phone that actually allows you to have freedom on your devices. I understand the perspective on locking it down to signatures and everything, don't get me wrong. But the problem is Android built themselves as the platform that allowed you to have freedom to control your device. So they created about a decade and a half of this ecosystem, and they're completely upending it. I understand why they're doing it, because people are making malicious apps all the time, but they're Applifying the Google Play Store. Anyway, let's go with this.
In October 2016, King's College London, a prestigious university known for academic excellence and questionable IT decisions, noticed a minor hardware issue in their Strand data center. Named after its location in the basement of the college's Strand building, the Strand data center housed...
Yeah, they should still HBX, don't get me wrong.
...storage system the college used for basically everything. IT systems, staff files, student projects, research data, probably someone's Minecraft server. Anyways, these 3-par systems are very respectable industry-grade beasts. They're robust, performant, and can have petabytes of usable capacity, so naturally, KCL decided to grab one to use for all of their storage needs.
Oh no, I know where this is going.
Practice to have a second machine for redundancy as well as various other backups. If you look at KCL's IT infrastructure, they seem to have all of these best practices in check. We got redundant systems, backups...
Never mind. They actually did some best practices.
Do a bit of investigating. Here's what you might have experienced if you joined KCL's IT team back in the day. Day 1, Hour 0. So you're being onboarded as a legacy storage optimization administrator. Your onboarding mentor introduces you to the Strand 3-par machine, which has up to 3 million IOPS.
Pushing out updates to it in drivers. Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Graphene OS system.
99% data availability. Then you may be briefed on how the university is migrating their data to a new 3-par machine in the Slough building. So how's the migration going, you ask? Don't worry about it, they reply. Then they give you a rundown on the primary long-term solution to their backup needs, which was Veeam, a multi-platform data backup software that was integrated with some of their systems. You ask why they didn't back up everything to Veeam, but they tell you not to worry about it. Lastly, they take you around back to the shed to show you their tape backups, which is when data is stored.
Are we talking about the same Veeam backup solution, like the provider?
Hard drives or SSDs, but are cheaper for long-term storage. You ask what kind of data is backed up to tape, and they tell you most of it is probably on there, but there have been various capacities.
Oh God!
So who knows?
They didn't verify the data.
Ever ran a disaster recovery test to see if these...
Oh no!
Your mentor had already left to use the restroom. You bring up some of these concerns to your supervisor, and he tells you that the 3-par is extremely reliable and there's nothing to worry about.
Oh God!
Backup strategy. The 3-par will constantly take...
No matter how reliable your systems are, you need to back up everything, and you need to test your backups. Because disaster can strike, and this is actually taught to us in cybersecurity. This is a cybersecurity issue. Remember the CIA triad. No, not that CIA. Get the tinfoil hat off. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Checking your backups, integrity. And then, if the system goes down, that's an issue of availability. So there's many ways you have to handle this. Like, think about, like, the situation of you have a tornado go through this. How do you recover in that situation? And what blows my mind is they mentioned they had tape, but they also had Veeam, which, if I recall, is a cloud backup solution that I used back in my MSP days for some clients. We had Datto and a few others, too. But yeah, oof, I know where this is going.
Level snapshots and save them in a different common provisioning group. Whatever.
Oh, no!
After processing this with the scrutiny of GPT-2, though, you begin to realize that the backup was still on the same machine, and that this
Oh,
was
no!
grandmother securing her files by saving a copy in a different folder somewhere else on her desktop. But he assures you that everything was operating according to university protocols, and that they had many more fallback plans. You continue to seek clarification, however, since you just watched a video the other day about someone accidentally deleting their company's database. What data, applications, and systems are included in the backup strategies? How frequently are backups taken? How often are backups tested for integrity and reliability? Has the IT team conducted a full-scale disaster recovery?
You gotta do this!
Your supervisor has had enough of your sensible inquisitiveness, however, and asks you to please leave. No problem, management probably has better things to worry about than the minuscule chance of there ever being data loss. That kind of thing only happens in folk tales and legends anyways. Before we go back to reality, I have to talk about our sponsor, Hudson River Trading. HRT is a tech-driven trading firm that builds all of its own systems, from their custom networking infrastructure to real-time analysis and research tools. When nothing else meets their performance needs, they simply have to invent it themselves.
It wouldn't surprise me that they're doing this all because of the whole antitrust crap around Chrome. Yeah, but
proprietary low-latency networks and a global fleet of servers that
that's where tutorials are wrong. They told me that I need C for like malware creation and other.
They're hiring sharp engineers.
The honest truth is, you can get into it later when you're in a red team stuff, but
and pipeline, finance experience not needed. And love for research optimization.
You can get a red team job, but the honest truth is, there's going to be far more blue team jobs out there. Not saying you can't do it, but it's harder to get into red team than it is blue team. And you can always go purple, which is a combination of red and blue, which is what I'm trying to shift to.
So back to KCL College London, the IT team detected a fault in the HP 3PAR system in Strand. Since 3PAR machines come with proprietary hardware and software that only the pros at HP know how to fix,
oh god,
HP's technicians and asked them to come take a look. The Strand machine had 4 controller nodes, which are separate hardware modules you can think of as the brains of the system that can coordinate and work as one to manage the data. One of these nodes broke, leaving the machine with only 3 brains. 3PAR was designed to tolerate single node failures, so the system was still fully operational at this point. The next day, the friendly HP technician...
But that's not a backup, that's a business continuity solution.
And in theory,
same as RAID is not a backup, RAID is a continuity solution.
Technicians weren't so friendly after all, because for some reason, after the faulty node was replaced, the entire machine imploded on itself, leading to
good god!
Data. Upon further investigation, it was determined that an incompatibility between the new firmware on the replacement controller node and the old firmware on the existing hardware caused many storage disks.
Oh no.
Storage architecture breaks physical disks into 1 GB chunklets and assembles logical drives by drawing chunklets from as many different disks as possible within a common provisioning group. This wide striping lets large files, which occupy multiple chunks, to be written in parallel across many disks, delivering high throughput. RAID protection is layered on top, so if one or two...
I talked about RAID already.
The system can rebuild missing chunklets from the remaining data and parity.
Right.
What the heck is parity? Well, going back to freshman year of college, you may have been in a class where you learned about Boolean algebra.
Extra bits of data so that you can rebuild the data.
Can perform is XOR.
Simplification.
Like OR, which only requires one of the 2 operands to be true, XOR requires exactly 1 input to be true. So XOR is both commutative and associative, just like multiplication in real math. But the trick here is the identity property, any value XORed with 0 equals itself, and the self-inverse property, any value XORed with itself equals 0. So suppose you have chunks A, B, and C, which are in reality just a bunch of bits that can be XORed together. We can calculate the parity chunk P by XORing all of them together.
Right.
Now suppose the B chunk blows up and we lose it. Can we reconstruct B using AC and the parity chunk? Why, yes, of course.
Yep.
Doing some quick maths, we first take advantage of the self-inverse and XOR.
But most RAID only can withstand a 1-disk failure.
B is 0. Now by the identity property, A XOR 0 equals itself. Next, we XOR P onto both sides. Same deal, P XOR P is 0. Since XOR is commutative, we can flip 0 and B around and apply the identity property to get just B. And here we have it. Chunk B is equal to the XOR of the other chunks used to calculate the parity and the parity itself. But just like any RAID system, if failures exceed the protection level, for example, if both chunks A and B failed, then we have data loss. In the event that many...
And I doubt they had multiple hot swaps.
Data loss, which is exactly what happened.
Now, Unraid doesn't really apply here. Unraid doesn't really have an enterprise solution, if I recall correctly.
Avoided the version incompatibility that caused the incident, but the IT team at KCL had not had the opportunity to apply the update. In the articles and forums I've read, most of them, including the title of this video, make fun of the school for not knowing how backups work. But having software that's 2 weeks old isn't a big deal, and having all your data wiped because of this seems like an egregious error from HP. But technically speaking, of course, HP cannot be blamed, as their terms absolve them of liability for...
Yeah, you should make periodic backup copies of the data. Yeah, so that makes sense. I actually side with HP on this because they're not responsible for your hardware or things, you know, losing your data because you did not back up your data. You should always back up your data. Backup, 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 backup. 3, 2, 1. 3 different backups, 2 different mediums, and 1 off-site. That is the minimum.
Things. Anyways, what's done is done, and the data in the Strand 3-part system was done. Not only was data from IT systems such as payroll and students' records lost, but also data and strategic plans written by professors and researchers. Furthermore, many internal systems and university websites went down. IT was now facing what could be the most significant technical outage to ever occur to an educational institute. But it's not time to panic just yet. Take a deep breath and think about this logically. We could probably piece together these backups and get something done. Let's have some staff get the critical services back online while others verify what data is lost and what could be restored. In the following days,
it's got to be a lot of work, though.
Student information and library systems were restored to working order. In parallel, the team took a look at their many backup options. First and foremost, the broken 3-part machine had volume snapshots taken regularly, but as we already know, those were only saved on the same machine, so that wasn't going to help. There was another 3-part system in the SNAL building, but only a limited number of applications wrote to that system, and the content was not replicated there.
Oh, man!
Same deal, only a select few applications were backed up through Veeam. Things were...
So you had a system in another site, and you didn't even make it a hot site. You had 2 different systems. You could have made it a hot site. What I mean by that is, if one site goes down, you flip to the other site. Good God.
Grim, and it seemed like most of the Strand data was going to be lost forever, especially all the precious research data in the shared drives. Unless, of course, the tape backups could pull through. So the tape backups were the biggest dumpster fire of them all. There were capacity constraints partially caused by terabytes of data being backed up daily.
God!
There was no awareness of business risk, so the subset of things being backed up to tape was not necessarily important. Staff also...
This is why you have cybersecurity handle this, because we know BCPDR a lot better than your average IT person. I'm sorry. It's the reality.
The tape backup automation failed regularly, but reported as completed anyways, leading the staff to believe they were succeeding. As a result, none of the stuff was escalated to higher management, causing the entire tape backup process to be fundamentally broken. By the 26th, about a week after the deletion, the severity of the shared drive data loss was made clear. Faculty at the school had been saving a lot of very important data on the shared drives, which wrote to Strand.
This is really feeling like the epitome of this sound right here.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
For example, the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology, and Neuroscience, or the IOPPN, was hit particularly hard, losing research data accumulated over decades that could only be generated by specialized devices.
Oh, God!
Now that we assembled the IOPPN hit team because we're either going to get these files back or die trying. What followed was the grueling restoration process, which took place over the next month. This would include forensic recovery, reassembling the 3-part storage structure.
That could not. That must have been really expensive for forensic recovery.
Paper copies. By the 4th of November, all services and the J drive were restored. By the 8th, the U drive was restored, and by the 11th, the R drive was restored, at least whatever was possible. There are supposed to be 4 shared drives on Strand, but nothing on the timeline reveals the fate of the N drive. Perhaps it was part of the
They probably went bye-bye.
Email sent to
Yup.
university staff. After the restoration process, the shared drives were now available on new infrastructure with new backup technologies. However, some staff had lost faith in the drives and began saving work on personal devices, much to the
I don't blame them.
Now, who was the mastermind behind the disastrous backups? Well, as the story goes, the problems began at the top. The technology roadmap had an overwhelming number of initiatives, overloading the IT team, tripling the headcount in 2 years. No one really knew what was going on.
Oh, God.
He only met once a quarter. Maybe someone
What
found
the
out
hell?
backups were broken, but knew that fixing it would mess up the KPIs, so they ignored it. The IT team was also never able.
This is why management screws up a lot of stuff. Because they never really listen to the people on the ground that are yelling and screaming, and managers are always like, KPI, we gotta hit our KPI, our key performance, indicators. We gotta hit those KPIs. Meanwhile, the guys in the trenches are like, that shit is basically a pile of gasoline getting closer and closer to a match that is on fire. And it's a little thing right now. No, a candle. Because match go out pretty quick. And you're sitting there like, oh yeah, this isn't a problem. God damn. This is what Xans and redundancy is for. Yeah, but apparently they didn't know this.
To convince the university staff to perform a full-scale disaster recovery test since they only had a single production stack, meaning such a test would cause downtime. Despite improving the resilience of their backup system,
And that's why you have
external reports
sandbox,
they still hadn't
test,
executed a full
and
recovery test.
production, also
It's
known
been
as
over a
staging.
year since then. Surely they've done a test or two by now.
So the studio Anima
Yeah, yeah. So this is exactly why cybersecurity is big into BCPDR, business continuity procedure, and disaster recovery. That is the cybersecurity position, because we're worried about the CIA triad. Remember? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And why do I repeat that so much every time I mention it? Because it needs to be drilled into your damn heads. This is why the technical people always are at odds with management, because management is over here thinking like this is a priority, and then the technical people are down here saying, no, F you, this is the real issue. But do they listen to the technical people? No! Remember setting up at a client's request Xans using old Xserves. Wait. You talking about Apple Xserve? You're talking about Apple Xserve, right? Don't get me wrong, I love those servers, but I think the last one was 2009, wasn't it? So for those of you that are not aware of what we're talking about, Apple used to actually make, 2011 was the last line of it. Apple used to make some really nice servers back when Apple was for business. And I actually really like these. I actually deployed some of them myself. I used to actually, when I was early on in my MSP days, I would deploy entire Mac shops. Like, your server was Mac, your computers were Mac, but this was back when Mac was great, like the PowerPC era. They kind of went downhill, like, after they switched to Intel, for various reasons. But yeah, these were rack-mounted servers made by Apple, and they were very capable. You have one in your office? Good God. You installed FreeBSD on them? Yeah. You used to be able to have more freedom with Apple devices back in the day. But, yeah, like this is... Look how old this is. You can't even use any of the latest operating systems on it. Not even with an Xserve Xeon. The latest one you could do... You can still do Sequoia, apparently? We have to patch it, but... Yeah. You use it as a table now. Respectable. I mean, if I had an Apple Xserve, I would never throw that thing out. It would become furniture. Just, like, attach some legs to it, and boom! Coffee table. To this day, that client's still running it on his racks. Good God. That's like a ticking time bomb right there, because the newest Apple Xserve is 2011. That's 14 years at this point. And your normal life cycle to cycle out hardware is about every 5 years or so. He has 40 of them. Yeah, well, eventually he's going to run out. Because the problem is they don't make them anymore. Good God. My friend just switched to Linux. What does racing Hyperlin mean? It means he doesn't go outside to touch grass, and he didn't get the attention he needed from his parents. But in all seriousness, besides that is the truth. No, it just means you're customizing your computer. We had a G5 still running that just got to EOL like a year ago. Really? Look, I love the PowerPC. CPU is a lot better in Mac. Mac was a lot better with PowerPC. And the only reason they moved to Intel, it's a dumb one, was because PowerPC didn't get to 3 gigahertz as fast as as fast as Apple wanted. So they went to Intel because of that. And where they screwed the pooch was they kept the exact same form factor of their laptops, which, by all means, worked fine with the PowerPC for thermals and everything. But they didn't redesign it for Intel. So they were not following Intel's own advice on thermal design. And that's why Apple MacBooks were notoriously bad with Intel. Then, of course, the Apple users are like, well, it's Intel's fault. Intel's the reason why. And I'm sitting here like, no, it's because Apple's not designing these to actually be cooled properly. Because what? Look. I have a piece here. We can show you. On the bottom of this Mac, and then we'll get into Helldivers in a little bit after I go on a rant again. Okay, on the bottom of this Mac, what do you notice is missing? I'm gonna give you a hint. Here. I'll help you. I have another visual aid here. Okay? What does this laptop have that this doesn't have at the bottom? I should add a Jeopardy sound here. Give up? Venting! All of the Macs had the issue of your air intake is here as well as your exhaust. They choked off their fan. Whereas you look at this, they have venting here for it to grab air and flow through. Look at every laptop that you get. And then what happens? And then like if you think that I'm making up crap here, when Apple doesn't design for thermals, who here in chat can tell me the difference primarily between a MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro? What's the main difference? They're using the same CPU. Of course, you can get different configurations on the MacBook Pro. But what's the main difference between the two? Exactly. The Air has no fans. Which is Apple's own way of admitting we didn't design this for thermals. You can have the same CPU in a MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro, and the only difference on why the MacBook Pro one might perform a little bit better is because it's not thermal throttling nearly as much, because it has a tiny little fan to at least let it get a little bit of air. And I know you can talk about how, like, oh, the ARM, has better battery life and all that stuff. That's just ARM in general. That's not because Apple's like, oh, we're great at engineering and all that stuff. Apple didn't create ARM. They bought the instruction set from ARM, then created their own CPU around it. And mind you, if this wants to blow your mind, Apple was the last of the major 3 operating systems to support ARM. Linux and Microsoft have been doing it for years already. Now, you can say, well, Apple may have done it a little bit better on the Microsoft Windows side. Sure. On the Linux side, that's not true. We were having Raspberry Pis with ARM CPUs. Tons of single-board computers. Entire servers that you can mount in data centers running ARM. You go to AWS, you can provision an x86 64 CPU or an ARM CPU. That's the main difference. I'm looking into buying Lenovo ThinkPad 430. Do you think it's good for the beginning? Which one is that? Lenovo ThinkPad 430S. I don't keep up with all the make and model numbers. It's all right. Well, it really depends on what you're trying to do for. What you're trying to do with it. Oh, that's an older model. I mean, it'll work for basic things. It's only got 8 gigs of RAM, apparently, on some models. But yeah, if you can beef that up just a little bit, should be fine. Yeah, up to 16 gigs of RAM. So it's a little bit older of a laptop. Slap some Linux in that, you'll be fine. I'm waiting for the Snapdragon X SoCs to get Linux support. Well, Qualcomm is notorious for bad support, so... You're gonna be like that meme, the skeleton? I'm still waiting for Qualcomm! I want a RISC-V to get more mature so we can actually do that more. That'll be fine. Just basic coding. I don't play game. I run Debian XFC, so I think it'll be good. That'll be fine. If you're looking at an inexpensive laptop, that should be fine. The only thing I may recommend, check the health of the battery when you get it, because it's a little bit older of a laptop. You may need to replace that. That's the only main consideration besides 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is the max that laptop can supposedly support. That'll be fine. You shouldn't have any issues. Do you think ARM will replace x86? No. I don't think it will. The reality is there are way too many applications that are built specifically for x86. And I know some people are going to say, well, we have emulation and all that. Emulation can't fix everything. There are a lot of use cases where it's just not as performant, or there's things it can't really translate. Now, for many consumer apps, that might be true. But in order for it to properly work, things would have to be rewritten for ARM. The problem is, specifically in Microsoft Windows, they've worked so hard on having backwards compatibility that like things in Windows 98 can still run on Windows today. And not always, but you get my point. Sci-Fi RISC-V just got VC funding from a ghost investor in Japan. They got a lot of investors, but it's going to be interesting. So speaking of ghost investors, there was one more video I want to go through. was kind of iffy on showing it because I watched a few minutes of it, and the creator went on some tangents that I don't necessarily agree with, but I figure if we watch it, we can call it out. And then we're going to switch to Helldivers 2 for a little bit, because we got to do some gaming on Linux. It's been a bit. And I haven't played Helldivers 2 in a couple of years. Yeah. Okay, so how many of you heard of this video game that was being released? The video game was called North Dev, I think it was. So supposedly, there was a game studio that announced a game that was supposed to, showcase, how undocumented immigrants cross the border, stuff like that. And I'm just going to say this right here, right now. I am so tired of games that overtly have some political statement. I'm okay with a video game that has like underlying, political, things in there, but they're not trying to drive a political point. It just happens to be part of the story. Does that make sense? Like Far Cry 5. Love that. There's a lot of video games you can name where you can actually look at like, moral lessons, political underpinnings, and things like that you could adapt to different, ideas. Wolfenstein, the modern take on it. I like that. But I don't like the idea of people going outright to make a video game for political reasons. Because I think that's when you create a bad game. And make this very clear. I'm not someone who's on the right. I'm also not on the left. I'm a political nihilist where I still get involved in politics, but I hate politics. I understand it, and because I understand it so well, I hate it. I hate the whole thing. Burn it all into the ground. But with that being said, Risk 5 has so much more potential being huge. Oh, absolutely. What's my machine specs? 5950X, 64 gigs of RAM, NVIDIA 3070s in there, and there's 2 NVMe SSDs in here, and two terabyte SATA SSDs in the back, because I used to have a Z-RAID 1 for backups, and then there's a Windows box over here with the 5700X, another 64 gigs of RAM, and an NVIDIA 3050, that's the stream box, and it's got some capture cards and stuff like that. But, yeah. Anyway, let's continue on with this video. And as I said, I'm going to preface it with, I watched a few minutes of it beforehand. There are some points he's going to make. I definitely will be pausing the video at that point to give a counterpoint, and then we'll continue on. But as I've told you before, I don't like to stay in a political bubble. So I will watch people, even though I disagree with them, just to get the perspectives on things. And he's got some points here, but I haven't really seen thus far a better video on this. But yeah, this is the, North Dev, and there were some interesting things that came about. Because when people started shining a light on them, questions were being raised about how they got their funding. And if I remember correctly, there were ties to, like, the United Nations, World Economic Forum, and it was just really weird how, like, a video game was getting funding like that. And apparently they went and deleted everything. They, like, purged their existence from the internet. It's really weird how this works. I don't care what your political view is, but that's just weird to me. Look, I'm covering the tech side of things. So, without further ado, here we go.
So the studio Anima Creates, that is the group or studio behind the very controversial game called Take Us North, has gone completely radio silent as soon as a light got shined on them. And it took about 36 hours in total for all of this to happen. But immediately, Anima Creates, the studio Twitter handle, was deleted. And that was right after I posted my tweet about Asmongold talking about the game and how the video
I
was
actually
removed
learned about this
from
whole thing through
Gamescom, like, it was
Asmongold.
privated.
I watched
And
some clips of his.
now the head of the studio and World Economic affiliated Carla Reyes has also deleted her account, which I verified myself. First thing I did this morning is like, I wonder if she's still showing on X, because I would think that if they deleted their company account, that she's the one that's the head of the company, that she would do something similar. And she did, but for whatever reason, it took her like another 15 hours to do it. And they have also privated their Instagram account and just now privated their own actual website for the game.
That sounds really
And
weird to me.
thankfully, in a previous video, I actually went over their website, showed all of it, and screen capped everything of it so that we can historically archive and look back at
'Cause
what it was.
They just announced
But I
it.
said,
You would think you'd
ask
want to
yourself
gain
this.
attention.
If they're so proud,
Then they
of
get
what they're
attention
creating,
and they delete everything.
why did they
It's
run
weird.
and hide everywhere as soon as a light was flashed on their project, asking questions about funding sources and connections to the World Economic Forum? And I tagged Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Madam Savvy, Grums, and Master of TDS. And I linked the website, which if you click on that, it just shows private site. The site is currently private. If you're the owner or contributor, log in. And this is Kayla Reyes, not privated, deleted her entire X account. Tell me,
For VPN,
tell me
Molvat's
they're not
fine, but if you're
running
trying to
behind.
stream
Like,
stuff
they
around a
had
geo
years
block,
of
Proton's a little
tweets
bit better.
talking
There's
about the game, promoting it,
I'm affiliated
sharing
with them.
it,
There's a link in bio for it if that's what
interconnected
you're
webs of
trying to go
activity
with.
questionable people in the industry. All of the links behind the scenes.
Both are fine. I use
And as
both.
soon as a minor thing, like legit, like it was a presentation at Gamescom, very minor in the grand scheme.
What are we
As people
watching?
reacted to it, I was like, oh, that's going to be funny to react
There's
to. I want to react to that too.
so
And it was privated. And as soon as
there was an interesting story of a game I was watching, because like the story was bubbling up of somebody that was creating a game to showcase, undocumented immigrants' journey across the border. And then when a little light was shined on them and questions were being asked about their funding, they just deleted everything. Like, your game was starting to get attention and you delete everything. It was just interesting to me. But he brings up a point later, which is why I was like, I didn't know if I was going to include this video, that I'm then going to counter. Because again, like I've said, I don't care what your political view is. I see things from all different political sides of things, because even though I don't always agree with people, I like to see their perspective on things. Maybe they have a point, maybe they don't, maybe I'm not seeing things in the right way, but yeah.
saw that, I started diving in further, because I'm like, if you're going to do that, it feels like you're hiding more. And sure as shit, they absolutely are. Everything hidden, private, or deleted.
So basically, it was shown that they had ties to, what was it, the World Economic Forum,
Everything. The only
United
thing that's still up
Nations,
is-
I think.
They're Blue Sky. Their Blue Sky is still up. So there you go. And shout out to Locke, who says, oh, here you go. They are on the libtard echo chamber now. So they are still up on.
So this is where I want to debunk this little point, because like people call it the libtard echo chamber, but I'm on Blue Sky. I'm not on X. I haven't been on X in over a year or so. Here's the reality. I've been on Twitter for many years. I barely got any engagement all those years I was, posting there. I remember I was literally cross-posting posts to Twitter, Mastodon, and I think also Blue Sky at the time too, because I think it was just around that time. Mastodon and Blue Sky by far had so much more engagement, it wasn't even funny. I have I have like close to 3 times the following on Blue Sky that I ever had on Twitter. In 1/5 the amount of time I've been on Twitter. Or whatever. Basically, I've been on Blue Sky far less time than I have Twitter, obviously, because Blue Sky came after. And Mastodon, I have twice the following that I do on Twitter. And on both of these platforms, I've got 10 times the engagement. Furthermore, this is why I wanted to say, I told you I was going to pop out and stop to discuss this for a second. There was an article that I was actually reading a little earlier that there's a lot of professionals, and I've already seen this with the InfoSec industry. Here's my blue sky. See? 3.8K following. I never got past, was it 1,300, I think it was? Maybe 1,500 on Twitter. I think it was 1,300. But I'd barely get like an engaged, someone responding to a post or anything. But this was the article I saw from Ars Technica. Blue Sky now platform of choice for science community. A lot of the actual professionals are preferring Blue Sky and Mastodon. I've seen it firsthand for years. InfoSec Twitter, the whole cybersecurity side, a lot of the big people there aren't there anymore. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And people are getting way more engagement on Blue Sky than they ever did on Twitter. And they ever did, yeah. And I mean, I like Mastodon too, but there are some pros and cons to both platforms. But let's see. Marine biologist and conservationist David Schiffman was an early power user and evangelist for science engagement on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Over the years, he trained more than 2,000 early career scientists on how to best use the platform for professional goals, networking with colleagues, sharing new scientific papers, and communicating with interested members of the public. But when Elon Musk bought Twitter in 2022, renaming it X, changes to both the platform's algorithm and moderation policy soured Schiffman on the social media site. He started looking for a viable alternative among the fledgling platforms that he had begun to pop up. I did the same thing. Most notably, Threads, Post, never played with that one, Mastodon, and Blue Sky. He was among the first wave of scientists to join Blue Sky and found that, and even in its infancy, it had many of the features he had valued in Golden Age. And I've been on Blue Sky since the invite days. I had a friend of mine, my mentor, who had some invites, and she gave me a code. But yeah, Schiffman also noticed that he wasn't the only one in the scientific community having issues with Twitter. The impression is further bolstered by news stories in outlets like Nature, Science, and the Chronicle of Higher Education, noting growing complaints about Twitter and increased migration over to Blue Sky by science professionals. Full disclosure, I joined Blue Sky around the same time. Twitter had ceased to be professionally useful, and many of the science types I've been following were moving to Blue Sky. I nuked my Twitter account in November 2024. This is according to the writer. So, basically they go into this, and this was the same trend I was seeing with cybersecurity professionals. The cybersecurity professionals either went to Blue Sky and or Mastodon. And you can say what you will about Blue Sky and some of the, flaws they may have. Every social media platform is going to have flaws. But even as small as I am, you're not going to get engagement like this on Twitter for as small as I am. You're just not. That's the honest truth. That's why people are using it. And one of the reasons why a lot of people hate on Blue Sky, especially from certain political sides, is because people got tired of the toxicity on Twitter. It felt honestly like to get your reach on Twitter, in many ways, you had to be toxic. You had to be negative to go viral. If it would just be crazy how things happen. You got dogpiled and all this stuff. But Blue Sky, a lot of people wanted to move away from that. But anyway, moving on.
Reposting wings. There's people, they're all the same. It's always the same story every single time. Every single time. I know, big shock.
And I know this is shocking to a lot of people that aren't in professional spaces.
As well here, which I covered part of this yesterday, but we have some updates to it as well. So, Madam Savvy on X says she deleted her account. The Forbes 30 under 30, the ex-Visa employee, the Code Coven co-founder, the Niantic and Square Enix racist policy pusher, has decided to delete her account. If you aren't doing anything wrong, if you have a totally organic industry backing you, why hide? And everything that they wrote is gone. Unfortunately for them, they were a little bit slow in doing this, and we got all our videos out. We recapped everything. We covered it all that we could find. I'm sure there's more behind the scenes, but all these things that are missing, we have in previous videos that I've covered already. So it might be gone now, but we have it. And I covered this in a previous video as well. So I'm not going to recap the entire thread, but she talks about how Carla Reyes is connected to women in gaming and how gaming is driving positive global change. And when I covered this topic in a previous video, I thought
And this goes back to my point where I don't care what your political views are. Video games should be for entertainment. Nobody wants to play a video game and be, yelled at and taught to. You're playing a video game for your entertainment. It shouldn't be, hitting you over the head, trying to teach you, that you're a bad person or anything like that. I don't care what your political view is. I really don't. I doubt any of you are playing video games because you want it to go to a political bent. You're like, I like the story. I like the gameplay. I want to enjoy it.
curious how there's nothing
Maybe
here
I want a
about-
mindless shooter game.
It's all about, oh, what gender are you? And do you want to make a game because you're a girl? Savvy followed up, quote tweeting me, I did not see the tag. It's even worse with all the stuff that is gone. And she followed up with this. And this is where it starts to actually get wild. This is why I love Savvy. Like, no matter how much research I do, she's like, hey, I got some more for you.
But yeah, basically they're going to go on to all that, and I don't think I want to really sit around for that. But I just found it interesting that a video game gets a little bit of a light, and there are some connections that are questionable, regardless of whatever political side you're on, and then deletes everything of their content. I don't know. Anyway. Moving on. There's a reason why I don't sub to a lot of creators or anything like that. But the problem is I've messed up my YouTube algorithm so bad that I get things that I have to consistently say, not interested, and reset my YouTube very often. But I do need to also get the Gamers Nexus documentary, the 3.5-hour video they have of the NVIDIA black market they had. That was kind of interesting. And then, you heard that, Cracker Barrel gave up the fight. Didn't we talk about that, like, yesterday, about, how all brands are just modernizing and becoming the same homogenous blob of same crap? What's up, EWO? And remember, like, it was just before the weekend, they're like, well, the branding is going great. People are asking, when are we going to get it? And all of that stuff. And suddenly, they,
comes to marketing,
they decided to, go back on that. Did you hear what Jensen is cooking in his oven? What?
Cracker Barrel gave up. They threw in the towel and just said whoopsie-daisy. I think they noticed the plummeting stock price and tried to throw the parachute on last minute here to try and save it. And actually, it is working. Their stock is rebounding after they announced they're just going to go back.
Because the funny thing is, companies don't really care about you, the consumer. They care about their shareholders and making them happy. That's what they care about. So when the shareholders started revolting against this, they started a reverse course. Now, I'm going to guarantee you the CEO is probably going to be out relatively soon. I don't know if it's a year or so, but she's probably going to be out the door. I looked at her history a little bit. She seems to be a little bit of a job hopper. Not that I'm hating on that, but for a CEO, you shouldn't really be that much of a job hopper. Anyway, I just found it interesting. They went on this whole PR blitz, getting on the news, talking on Good Morning America, all this. The Cracker Barrel rebrand is going great. And then, boom, cooking another plan to screw over gamers next generation.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
So, yeah.
Branding and everything, which is definitely the right call because the new logo is just more of that minimalist corpo dog shit, just personality-less, sterile, chrome.
I don't know why everyone's doing this with their logos and designs.
It was used in SpongeBob, how everything's chrome. Well, when it comes to marketing, there's been a huge push over the last few years to do everything as simply as possible and take all of the creativity and soul out of like a brand identity. I don't understand it at all, just boiling everything down to plain text. And for Cracker Barrel, it's even more incomprehensible because their old logo was kind of iconic and the entire reason people even go to Cracker Barrel.
Right, it was like a staple.
Nostalgia.
Like, I've never actually, sorry to pause again, I've never actually been to a Cracker Barrel. I've talked about this, but I know the Cracker Barrel logo. I'm not really hating on this per se. It's just, why did you do this? This made no sense to me. Why go about doing this? You want to attract new people to come in? Figure out a marketing campaign. Market nostalgia. Because the funny thing is, nostalgia is what's selling a lot lately. We talked about this with McDonald's a couple streams ago. CEO's mainly paid in shares, so maybe she just wants a bunch of shares from a bunch of companies without buying them. That could be true. But there's also contingencies for many CEOs to get shares. It depends on the companies and how they do things, and they have to hit certain KPIs, and it depends on how they've structured the agreement there. But she probably reversed course. Like you said, she's getting paid in shares probably. And the share price went down, which meant her shares went down. They're not doing this for altruistic reasons because, okay, we hear you. It's because my money is flying out of my wallet. That's all they care about. At the end of the day, you hit them in the wallet, that's where they hurt.
To go to something that reminds them of being a kid and driving across the country to old Meemaw's house.
Yep.
Like, and you get like that whole blast from the past at Cracker Barrel. And now this whole
I'm not really from a white family. I'm Moroccan. So I don't get it. That's why I've never had the whole Cracker Barrel thing, but yeah.
Obviously, the people that are going to Cracker Barrel probably weren't going to respond well to it. And even people that don't go there weren't going to respond well to it because no one likes to see this fucking direction that companies take now.
Right.
It was a lose-lose situation across the board. I don't know how they thought they could squeak a fucking W out from their butt cheeks here with this one. And now, after everything was
Interesting way to put that.
They've just desperately said, all right, you win.
Well, AI Cat, it's very useful. That's part of why I do so well in my career.
Their original statement after the backlash was that it was a vocal minority that didn't like it, so they tried the denial approach and drank a delusion smoothie. It wasn't saving them, so now they're trying to snap back to reality and trying to paint this as like a good thing, like, we listen to you guys. We thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away. Our old timer will remain. It's like the end of a fucking MCU movie. Old timer will return. So now they're like, okay, I guess it wasn't a vocal minority. So we're gonna listen to you guys, because if we don't, I think we're gonna be ending up with our ass in the air, getting fucked in the stock market. This now puts
Pretty
Cracker
much.
Barrel in an exclusive club of companies whose marketing was so bad they had to just pull the plug, get it off life support ASAP, and go backwards. This includes.
Let's see, the companies that I know of that has happened to is Coca-Cola. That's why they call it Coca-Cola Classic. Tropicana, when they got rid of the iconic orange with the straw. I think that was 2009, 2006, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Coke, like with
called
their
it!
new Coke push, an infamous marketing blunder.
I was just
Also,
curious what he's going to say.
HBO Max, where they changed.
All right,
the
HBO
Max,
did that.
but then eventually back to HBO Max. Again, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here. I really don't know what kind of scam is.
Why do
being
people
run
try to
from
so
marketing
hard with
agencies
trying to
on these
time the
big
market?
companies?
Because they want to get
All
rich
power
quick.
to them. They must be making so much money through coming up with the most simple, stupid ideas ever that any sensible person with half a brain would hear and be like, yeah, it's a bad idea. But somehow these marketing drones are able to convince these like fucking billionaires and like these super high upper echelon people on the food chain of massive corporations that they should completely redo everything and ruin their brand image because somehow that will make it fresh. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I don't get it either.
Well, I mean, it's not working for the companies, but it's working for the marketing agencies of convincing them that they need to be giving them hand over fist amount of money to do these awful changes. Again, these are changes anybody, like even someone at like a fucking elementary school would probably hear this and be like, why would Cracker Barrel do that? I don't like that. Actually, any human being would hear these changes and just, they'd naturally ask the question, why? But
That's why I was asking this whole thing.
Like, let's talk HBO Max. You have your marketing firm that's doing all the levers and pulleys on the doodads and whatever to try and help your company grow there with the streaming platform. And then one of them says, let's change the name from HBO Max, a name everyone knows and recognizes,
right,
to just Max. Does no one ask why? Like, why would you not just follow that up with a simple question, like a simple inquiry saying, but why?
I can imagine it now. There was a board meeting. Some guy came in, all suave, maybe like a Steve Jobs turtleneck, or maybe an Archer tactile neck. If you get that joke, great. 1,000 points to you. Comes in, just comes in and says, I had a vision while I was taking my psychedelic trip of what direction we have to take to embrace the market and grow. Everyone's leaning in, and he just says, Max. And everyone claps. And then they all just start smelling their own farts, and then, you know, like the clouds of smug from South Park when they got Priuses. Come here, Max. Who's a good boy? Exactly. Max sounds like the name of my friend's dog. You know, Max is actually the most common dog name in the U.S. No joke. I forgot where I read that, but that's a thing.
There's nothing to gain from that. You actually gain nothing. All you do is lose people that don't know what Max is now on their fucking
right.
TVs. Like, oh, what is the program here, Max? What'd you download here? Is this some kind of porn platform? What is this?
Oh, God.
Out of here? Like, you just lose the entire identity of it. Like, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Especially in Cracker Barrel's case. They lost like $100 million overnight, and I have to wonder how much they
That's a brand that's been around since the 60s.
This huge push. The whole idea of Cracker
Like, I've never been, but I know it.
Nostalgia. And this new push was about getting rid of the nostalgia.
When every other business is trying to market nostalgia, McDonald's, all of them.
They do get it. Like, these guys, they've got their finger on the pulse of what the people actually want. It's like every single marketing push from these companies is about, like, how they can completely change things and then try and, like, hypnotize people into thinking that this is a good thing. Like, yeah, you're gonna hate this, but you gotta take your medicine. You gotta swallow the pill. We know you better than you know you, and this is what you want. So it's what we're giving you. Yep. And it didn't go over well. I'm actually very surprised that they shifted course so quickly. I thought for sure they were going to ride this for a little while here and just try and brute force it. But
I thought it was going to be a few weeks.
So bad for
it didn't even last a weekend.
That they're like, okay, just fucking abandon it. Please, God, we have to save this now. I thought
there must have been some emergency board meeting.
A while to, you know, test the waters, dip their tootsies in there before, like, fully cannonballing back into the pool of regret and, you know, reverting everything. I thought they were going to stick the course, because most companies do. When they spend this amount of money on this kind of push,
they had to spend millions
to admit fault and go backwards.
Tens of millions, probably.
Just going to go for, you know, brute forcing it through.
New furniture, lighting, all that, yeah.
Hunker down, you know, plant our feet, lat spread, and yeah, we might lose a little bit in the short term, but what about the potential long-term gains, which are always non-existent in a change like this? It's not
it's
like
cutting off the nose to spite the face.
People that were like, okay, now I can't wait to try Cracker Barrel. Now that it's gone fully minimalist and is now just another generic, sterile restaurant, I can't wait to get my teeth in there and chomp on those meals. Like, that doesn't exist. There was never that group of people.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Just kick out the customers that went for a specific purpose of, like, that old-timey feel. But these companies don't seem to know that when they make these changes. So I thought for sure they were just going to try and get that imaginary group of people into the door, but they didn't. And they made
that CEO got yelled at
this quickly. It should have never even been something that'd been greenlit in the first place. But at least they did act pretty quickly in reverting everything. definitely was the right call to do that. They should have never even got this far in the first place. Maybe this will be like a lesson going forward that maybe a lot of those marketing agencies you're paying the big bucks to don't really know a fucking thing about what they're doing or what
most of them don't.
Looking for out of
most of them really don't.
I mean, I know that's kind of blasphemous to say.
I've dealt with quite a few of these people.
But maybe it's just a little food for thought. Oh, also, one more thing I wanted to mention. In the midst of all the Cracker Barrel hoopla, I saw some reports from employees claiming that they don't actually make the food at Cracker Barrel fresh. Like, it's not all made from scratch.
Oh, God, really?
Which, I mean, I guess it doesn't surprise me personally.
I've never been. Now I definitely will never be.
About, like, how fresh the food is. We make it here. In fact, we got all the animals in the back and we go slaughter them there and make it so fucking fresh you wouldn't believe it. And it's like,
Chef
yeah, that's
Mike.
probably not true. In Cracker Barrel's case, though, that was like a core component to their pitch on their cuisine. So if that is true, that's a damn shame. Like I said, I've never really had a problem with Cracker Barrel food. I've always enjoyed it. Every time I've gone there, it's been like good eating. I've never been disappointed or anything. But one of their big things of the new marketing...
I'd still rather Waffle House.
The food, so I don't know if that means that now they really are going to commit to making it all fresh from scratch at the locations or what. But I don't think all of this is going to lead to more customers going to Cracker Barrel, like a new wave of enthusiasts going there. Like, they listened, I can't wait to commit to eating at Cracker Barrel 3 times a week with my family. I don't see that happening. I think this will just be everyone going back to not eating at Cracker Barrel unless they're really feeling nostalgic or if it's something that's just really convenient on a road trip or something. I don't see this being like a huge eruption of popularity for the brand or anything.
Ain't gonna be popular.
Even though it did get their name out there in a big way, and I'm sure there are people that are happy that they did go back and listen to the feedback.
It got out there, but in a negative way.
They weren't listening to the feedback. They just noticed that they're fucking floundering in the stock market. They were losing so much money. But regardless, there are people happy that they at least did go backwards, and they might try it once or twice. I just don't see it leading to like long-term explosive growth of...
No, absolutely not.
Anything like that. Even though it is rebounding with its stock, I don't think anything's going to really change for this company going forward.
Nope.
Though I did mention that one of their changes in this new push that they've now abandoned that I actually thought was a really good idea that they should definitely still go through with is changing their chairs. Those chairs, they do not feel good on the old tuchus after a little while. I think changing out the chairs was a actual...
Maybe you should get some meat on your
That is
tuchus.
a banger. They should definitely still do that. Get rid of everything else they were proposing, except that. Get new chairs. Get some, like, real comfortable chairs to sit on. Because those seats they got there, yucky. They are just not comfortable. Anyway, though, I'll stop yapping about Cracker Barrel. That's really about it. See ya.
But yeah, I was really shocked that the whole Cracker Barrel thing, like, 1, that this actually happened, 2, that it became such big news, 3, that they reversed the course of it. I thought this was going to be a few weeks. Again, I've never been to Cracker Barrel. I don't plan to ever be at Cracker Barrel. It's just not something that's ever appealed to me, because you got to understand, I'm a first-generation Moroccan American. And Cracker Barrel basically is sold on nostalgia for... basically, you know, for white people, what their grandmother cooked and having those memories and stuff like that. That's what I've understood. I don't have that connection. I don't have that nostalgia for it. Now, you put me in a Mediterranean restaurant, hand me baklava, give me some hummus, tahina. I added a chet in there a little bit too much. But give me a shawarma. Especially if you can get it in a laffa, put it in a lamb. Give me, some salmon, with, dill, everything like that. Give me some saffron rice. Oh yeah, I'm all about that. All about that. I mean, like, there were, like, dishes that, on my mother's side, we had, like, corned beef and cabbage, Laksha noodles, of course, you've got the traditional, bagel lox and cream cheese, from, that combo. Lox is smoked salmon, for those of you that aren't familiar. Get me some whitefish, those kind of things. You put me in a Jewish deli, yeah, I'm all about that. Get me some kugel, things like that. You give me some cholent on right after synagogue, I'm all about that. Or, what do they call it? In the Sephardi side, it's called chamim. It's great. Give me that. Give me a babka. All that. Give you some tequila. Yeah, tequila will work too. Tequila's good too. I'm good with that. But yeah, the whole Cracker Barrel thing has just blown my mind. I've never been there. I have no incentive whatsoever to go to a Cracker Barrel. It just seems to me like it's the kind of place that seasoning means salt and pepper. When salt and pepper are just basic ingredients. Like, I got a wall of spices if you ain't seen it. We got saffron, we got cumin, we got both kinds of paprika. Most of you don't even know there's more than one. We got oregano, you know, we got, you know, like the people that go to Cracker Barrel, no offense, seem to me to be like the people that go to Chipotle and then happen to get the bay leaf in their rice and then complain about it. Like, oh, they're putting leaves in our stuff. And, you know, we're like, it's a bay leaf. It's kind of there to give it a flavor, you know? Like, I got a herb garden of thyme, oregano, rosemary, and I cut that stuff by the clump and put that on things, you know? But, ooh, Berber spice, I'm all about that. Give me some za'atar, you know, like, I can go on a tangent about this, but yeah. I grew up around Mexican families living around me, giving me Mexican food. I'm good. Oh, I love me some Mexican food. Especially if you live near an abuela, like my buddies who are Mexican, brought me over to abuela. I swear to God, I would marry that woman just for her cooking. And by the way, while I was at DEF CON, I had some of the best tacos I ever had in Vegas, and it wasn't too far from the convention center. And this place not only had lengua, tongue tacos, they had, I got to try, we call it head cheese. It's the meat from the face. And oh my God, that stuff was so tender. I got that with suadero. With some asada tacos. Tongue, steak, basically brisket. And head meat, oh my God. It's great. And for those of you that are probably like cringing, like, oh, y'all don't know how good and tasty the organ meats are. And the other parts that y'all are just throwing away. I'm just saying. Cow tongue is one of my favorite things to eat. Hands down. My mom and my grandmother on both sides used to make that often. I like that stuff better than the brisket. Had some Indian food too. It's good. Oh, Indian food is great. I love Indian food. But the thing is, every time I order Indian food, I have to tell them to make it spicy. And I basically have to reach over to the server and grab them and say, this may look white. I am Moroccan. When I say spicy, I want to be able to have my ass in competition with SpaceX later. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Anyway. We gotta fight for democracy. I want to try that one food where you rip the tortilla and scoop the food with it. I don't know which one you're talking about, but I would try that. Look, here's the thing. I'm not afraid to try any food. Oh, God. Helldivers is now validating its stuff, and I had to install a little update before we can switch over to that. How many browsers did I have open? One of these things isn't like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong here. Helldivers 2. You know, I haven't played this game in so long. But we are going to be planning to make a established gaming on Linux Day as well as, you know, we'll have days that we do everything else. But here we have Helldivers over here. Will you play? I think it should still run on Linux. Last played June 8th, 2024. Currently have a new launch September 2nd. Okay, it's running an install for DirectX. I don't need to do that. Launching. Okay, so it's doing the Vulkan shader thing. Oh, I couldn't just click out of that. So hold on, compatibility. I don't want Proton hotfix. Let's get GE Proton while we're here. I like the glorious egg roll forks. So it has to preload the Vulkan shaders in Linux. That's kind of a performance thing. It only has to do this like once per update. But it's also because I just installed the game yesterday and I haven't launched it. So we'll just chill out here for a second. I'm gonna let that run. This is one of the reasons why I like having a 5950X, because I want to show you this. Hold on, I'm gonna flip the camera back. That is all my CPU threads going crazy right now, processing these Vulkan shaders. Look at that. I'm maxing out a 5950X. Ah! That's 32 threads, 16 cores, all going brrr. We're 31% done. We're 1/3 there. But that is another reason why I like having a 5950X. I got it originally because I like to do a lot of different virtual machines and have all the threads capable and everything like that. But there has been the added benefit that sometimes when I play a game and we need to get it to do the Vulkan shaders and everything, it takes quite a bit of time. I do think I'll eventually upgrade my PC. If not next year, then the following year. I'm probably going to keep the case, though, because it's been customized. Just clean it out. What's up, Mikhail? But I'm going to probably upgrade the motherboard and the CPU and the GPU. Looking at a, at least a 5070, because I'm on a 3070 right now. And then I want to upgrade the stream box to a 5050, at least. But I may jump over to a 5070, possibly because of the dual NVENC encoders, but I'm not sure I may actually need it. We shall see. We'll cross that bridge once we come to it. But so far, these computers have been doing plenty fine for me. But, we're at 99%. We're more than halfway there. Currently saw a video from you on TikTok and saw your live. Great content you have. Appreciate the love. Yeah, this is one of my actually scheduled days that I go live. Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday, but I've recently just been doing a lot of extra days in between. If you like this content, you should see my YouTube. TikTok is kind of where you get the scraps these days. And then, of course, we have all the live streaming and everything like that. And I live stream to 4 different platforms. Yes, English. English, motherfucker. You speak it? Okay. Accept. Next. Voice chat, push to talk. Because I am going to be talking. Crossplay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Super Earth, all that. Man, I haven't played this game in a year. Discovered you know I was doing some research about Graphene OS. Keep up the good work, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've been working on having plenty of more look at this. Received 414 days ago. 426 days ago. 402 days ago. You know how long it's been since I played this? Like, I am gonna have to remember how to do this. Oh yeah, they have the whole, like, ODST crossover thing now. I forgot about that. Let's see. Alright. Let's see if I remember how to do this. I'm probably gonna die a million times. But, y'all can laugh at my ass as I die. Okay. I think that should be good. Hi. Yeah, I got 8 gigs. Okay, we should be good. God, I haven't played this game in so long. Let's see. We got the automatons. Those are the robots. Terminids.
Initiating FTL jump to the Taric system.
This should be interesting. Like, I completely forgot how to play this game and shit, so,
FTL jump successful.
this gonna be interesting.
Mission coordinates.
I do remember I had to go to the pods.
Hell pods primed.
We're here to spread democracy. And I hear they have oil in them thar hills. Oh, hold on. Stratagem, precision strike, audible. What the hell do I have? I'm trying to remember what the hell I had. Okay, the guard dog rover. Okay. And then... What's up, Spooky? Don't tell the government they will hop on the game.
Join squadron.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a decent loadout. We shall see. I haven't played this game in a year, so I'm probably gonna suck. Just ordered some parts for a mod. I'm wondering if you looked into it, but Zippo modding. Like the lighter? I ain't done that in a minute. I used to restore old Zippos. I had a Zippo pipe lighter. Many people don't know about that. It was a Zippo lighter that had a hole in the middle so you could actually use it on a tobacco pipe. You ever want cheats? Check out Cheats Happen. I don't like that. I don't like cheating. I'm gonna die with dignity 1,000,000 times.
Show these alien invaders no mercy.
Okay, so how do I swap weapons? What's up, Fart Buckle? Trying to remember my commands. Okay, control. Gotcha.
Requesting advanced weaponry!
Shit, we are getting overrun. Wait, are you on keyboard? Oh, yeah.
Lost. Deploying replacement squad.
I'm a keyboard and mouse person.
Approved. Reinforcement allied destroyer has left the squadron.
Boom. Oh, god damn it.
Democracy has
This is gonna suck. Shit. I thought I could have, like, landed on top of him, but nah.
Point me to the enemy. Deploying support weapon. Max empty.
Shit. Am I on a tough difficulty?
Reinforcements have been launched. Reporting to the front.
Am I solo out here too?
Deploying equipment package.
I don't have another machine gun, damn it.
Deploying equipment package. Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver to combat zone. Found something.
Oh, okay.
Sample collection. Max empty.
Fuck, 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 fuck. Fuck me sideways. Not in a good way. Okay, I'm sort of getting the hang of this again. It's been a little over a year. Because I forgot the rover actually is useful. Oh, that's a shield. Hey, Brock. Not now. I love you, but not now. Press 3 to switch to fancy weapon. Oh. What's the button to do push to talk on this? Hold on. Options. Mouse and keyboard. Change bindings. Comms. Open chat, voice chat. Okay. Got supplies back there. Gotta stop reloading everything. Alright, let's see. Which way do we gotta go? This way. Oh, my rifle's over there. Okay, I died somewhere around... There it is. Wait, no. That's not it. That's it. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Gotcha. Okay, how the hell do I aim with this? Yep, that's why I like the rover. So now my Zippo will last a month or two on one fill just in the open. What the hell? Did you just give your Zippo an extendo? Okay, so Alt gets on the ground. So, hold on. Change bindings, combat. If reload is that, change equipment. Support weapon. Switch aim mode. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Outpost cleared.
Mag's empty. New mag. Mag's empty.
Damn it.
Calling in reinforcements. Mag's empty.
Alright, I'm gonna need to get my supplies back.
Mission at 30 minutes remaining.
How do I stim?
Requesting advanced weaponry! Tagging location.
Nope.
Cancel that. Reloading!
Where are we going? Goddamn. I have not played this game in so long. Quick stim is you. Or V? Oh, V. Looked like a U with that font. Come on, get some!
Fire in the hole!
I think friendly fire is on. I'm pretty sure that's one of the games that, like, we jokingly do with everyone. See, at this point, though, I'm just getting 100% Zorro parts. That's one. Matter grenades.
Reloading!
Never played this game, not gonna lie, so I'm just here for the bug shooting. You know, this game reminds me of Starship Troopers.
Bug hole, on my position. I need supplies. Throwing supply beacons. Throwing down supplies. Fire in the hole. Throwing grenade.
Outpost destroyed.
Reloading.
Didn't mean to reload, but oh well. Just gonna have to deal with it. Starship Troopers is a favorite child of mine, but different of a movie now. Oh yeah, because now you look at it with a whole different light. Yeah, I saved you. That's right. Meteor storm. Okay, we're just gonna have to hump our way across this.
Found something.
Allied destroyer joining squadron. Deploying Helldiver to combat zone.
Sample collected. I'm on it.
Oh, another one joined.
Backpack inbound. Calling down a support weapon.
Okay, so we gotta go raise the flag over here.
Sending down equipment package.
Red Rover, send my damn laser right over.
Requesting sentry.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Calling down a sentry.
I understand the actual context as an adult. Oh, yeah. The sequels weren't nearly as good. God damn it.
Reinforcing. Reporting to the front. New mag. How about a nice cup of liberty?
Outpost destroyed.
Alright. Got the bug nest cleared here. His turret killed me. So I guess we gotta go raise the flag. It's like when I watched Evangelion as a child and got nothing. Yeah. Well, it's like when I was younger, I watched Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and I thought it was cool, then I rewatched it, and I'm like, oh, damn, this show actually gets you thinking about what defines a human.
Bar.
Have I heard of Nosy from Citra? I have not. What's that?
Found something.
The Japanese are really into what is a human. Well, I think these are the questions we should have been asking a long time, because, like, people are falling in love with AI. You know, like AI, have you seen, like, my AI boyfriend?
Requesting sentry. Air sample collected.
Quit standing in front of my machine gun, damn it!
Mag empty. New mag.
All right, we got 20 minutes. Come on. I haven't been, but I'm scared to inquire more. Oh yeah, there's a whole subreddit on, what you call it? Reddit? My, boyfriend is AI or something like that. Well, how the hell did we get this much off course? He gonna die. This bitch is on fire. I don't want a stalwart. Swear it wasn't that weird when I first started using it as a kid. What? Oh, god damn it. God damn it.
Democracy has landed. Rare sample acquired.
Shit, I do not have my rover.
Stratagem no longer available.
Requesting sentry. Calling down a support weapon. Calling down a sentry.
I'm gonna just need to chill for like a minute. But I guess I can at least go for a shield pack right now.
Tunnel breach.
What the hell? How'd I die? Spawn die, spawn die. Citra is a TikToker that's making a fully FNAF animatronic that is fireproof. Huh.
Joining the fray.
Am I gonna do something stupid? Probably. I'm running to go get my crap. I saw that's like 4 servos strapped to a puppet shell. Interesting. Okay, we're almost there. Getting slowed by foliage.
Requesting advanced weaponry. Tac pack inbound.
You have ignited the torches of liberty. Extraction awaits.
Tagging map.
Okay, where did I die? Rover? Machine gun? Yep, that'd be me. Okay. I think we're going for extraction now. Guess we gotta hump our way across the map.
Marking location. Tagging location. Never mind. Bugs. East. How'd you like the taste of freedom?
Shit! Did not catch my right.
Reinforcing.
Reinforcement budget depleted. Request approved. Deploying reinforcements.
Ready to liberate.
Oh, I died right there.
You man!
Extraction is available.
Not today!
Extraction shuttle inbound.
God damn it. Oh, that's your shield pack.
Calling down a sentry!
Requesting air support.
Crap, I don't got a machine gun.
Hold in orbital strike.
Oh, there it is.
Bug tunnel breach!
What I was looking for. Alright, let's go.
Additional reinforcement funding approved. ETA T-minus 1 minute.
Fire in the hole!
ETA T-minus 30 seconds. ETA T-minus 20 seconds.
Freedom forever!
Alright, we're almost out of here.
ETA T-minus 10 seconds. Clear landing zone.
Pelican 1 approaching pickup. Pelican 1 landing in progress.
That was not what I meant to do.
Pelican 1 preparing to depart. Shuttle launch in 20 seconds. Calling in orbital strike.
Firing orbital strike.
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 begin.
There we go. How am I the highest level on this mission?
Sweeping victory for Super Earth.
So, first game after a year. Did I suck? Yes. Did we finish, though? Yes. So I give that mission a 5 out of 7. If you get the reference, then yeah. Hey, I got another level. Okay.
Now that was what I call a profitable use of resources.
Allied destroyer has left squadron.
God damn. I got a bunch of crap from not being on in a while. Trades magazine capacity and rate of fire for a powerful, accurate. Then you have energy-based guns here. A secondary. A throwable. Oh, that's what I got? Okay. Oh, these actually change things up. Okay. Wait, how is this 150 and then this one's down? Not understanding that. Helldivers come out of the fully stocked on ammo. Provides minor damage reduction from all sources for all Helldivers. Okay.
Mission coordinates locked. Hellpods prime. Engaging orbital thrusters.
Let's get some. Let's at least get another mission. I forgot how fun this game was. Guard dog rover. We're gonna want a machine gun. And a mortar. There we go. Is Proton still safe? Yeah. Just to be sure, you're talking about the Proton email, VPN, password manager, all that. Yeah, I still use it. It's fine. I still recommend, if you're looking on the VPN side, there's Molvad and Proton. I am affiliated with Proton, so if you do want to use the links in bio to go get it, help support this channel. But yeah, I've used Proton for many years. When I decommed my own private email server, I switched it all to Proton. It's kind of shocking that this game apparently takes over 100 gigabytes of space on your computer. And yes, it works on Linux.
Using advanced weaponry! Package acquired. Calling down a sentry. Dropping package.
Oh, shoot your ass! Literally!
Mag's empty. Reloading.
Friendly fire, buddy. I thought it was if EU is cooking something again. Well, Proton's safe. They said they'd move their entire services if it comes down to it. But the EU chat control is definitely a concern.
Package acquired. Calling in reinforcements! I got the terminal.
Mission is progressing.
That's called democracy!
Democracy has landed.
I need stems! Live to dive another day.
What's up, Road Geek? Okay, resupply. I'm gonna take one. What's the tac pack do? That hurt.
Tagging map, northeast, far.
Alright, we're gonna have to hump our way around this shit. Oh, this is Helldivers too. Haven't played this in over a year.
Calling down support weapon.
Okay. I think I'm in heavy, slower because I'm in heavy armor. A little bit too quiet.
Requesting sentry.
Calling in an orbital strike.
Nah.
Mag's empty.
Just head dive into the, ground like that.
Reloading! How'd you like the taste of freedom?
God damn it. Alright, I'm coming down.
Democracy has landed.
Where's my back? Oh, god damn it. You took my rover. F you.
Requesting tac pack.
Main objective near your position.
That's a really crappy thing to do, to take some other man's tac pack. Just for that, I'm gonna walk over. Still got a whole damn minute until I get another rover.
Supplies.
Requesting sentry. Bugs, south. Calling down a sentry. Requesting sentry.
Where? Oh, 10 seconds till I get my rover. That was not what I meant to do.
Sending down equipment package.
Get my rover. All right.
Liberty, it's the Helldivers.
Oh my god, just stop running for a second.
Marking location, west, heavy.
Bag's empty. Bag's empty. No max.
What's it shooting at? Okay. Okay, 2 more citizens. We're good.
Thanks to you, you may proceed to extraction.
acquired.
Seems like there's a nest over here.
Tagging map. Southeast. 200 meters.
Dropping a pin. West. Far.
I'm not running Arch. I'm on Pop OS. You see, my parents loved me, and I touch grass. Okay, where is this horrible bug's nest?
You may proceed to extraction when ready.
Tagging location. South.
And of course, we got a meteor storm. This is effing great.
Requesting sentry. Go time. Calling down a sentry. Reinforcing!
Goddamn.
Calling down supply! Reloading!
Alright. Let's get some supplies. Okay, we gotta clear all these bug holes out. We got 3, 4.
Extraction is available.
Throwing grenade! Fire in the hole!
Outpost cleared.
There we go.
Dropping a pin. West. Far.
Alright, we got about a quarter of a click to go.
Tunnel breach. New mag. Requesting orbital strike.
Really? Orbital for that? Alright, I guess.
Reinforcing.
Goddamn, called a napalm strike and blew it up on us because they went down.
Reporting to the front.
Marking location. West. Cancel that. Tagging location. West. Never mind. Tagging location. Cancel that. Marking location. West. Tagging location. Northwest. Enemy patrol. Northwest.
Y'all are a little too heavy on the sentries. You don't need them. See? By the time he called it down, they were gone. I'm almost out. All right. We have to get all the way around this boy. Ooh, pretty fire.
Heavy. West.
That is awfully close of a sound. It's just over that hill. Are we going around or in?
Heavy. North.
Front tunnel breach.
Democracy.
All right, come on. Let's go.
Nomad.
Reloading. Say hello to democracy. Throwing supply beacon.
Oh, they got it before me.
There's something here. Get some! Get some!
What you doing over here, bud?
Heavy, northwest. Marking location. No, never mind. Bugs.
You may proceed to extraction when ready.
Got a sample.
Still seems like there's bugs nearby. All right, let's go.
I found something. Heavy, south. Say hello to democracy!
Oh, of course, we got meteors coming in.
Supplies. No!
Nope, 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 nope. God damn, that meteor. Oh god, these meters gonna hit me.
Found something!
All right, let's see. We're gonna need to go.
Tagging map, southwest, 100 meters.
New mag.
Tagging location, cancel that. Bugs, south. Bugs, east. Requesting sentry. Calling in extraction.
Extraction shuttle inbound.
Let's see. Which one's the... Yeah, that...
Request. Have a taste of democracy.
Sweet liberty! The league!
T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds.
Heavy, on my position.
Goddamn, we're getting overrun.
ETA T-minus 1 minute. Request approved. Deploying reinforcements.
Calling down a sentry. Reporting to the front. Act empty.
ETA T-minus 30 seconds.
Getting back in the fight already?
Request approved. Deploying reinforcements. ETA T-minus 20 seconds.
Democracy has landed.
ETA T-minus 10 seconds. Clear landing zone.
Reloading. Have a taste of democracy.
There we go. Ever met some crazy hackers? I mean, high-level black hats?
Today you've carved another footprint in a long climb.
Have you watched too many Hollywood movies? Most of the high-level stuff doesn't happen on a solo. It's usually happening in groups. And if you go to DEF CON, you meet a lot of amazing people, but yeah. Our squad impact hit 4. Oh, one of our people left?
Mission accomplished, Helldiver. One small step for democracy. One giant leap in the death count of our enemies.
Allied destroyer has left squadron.
So let's see, what's in the superstore? Wasn't there like some ODST, like combo stuff? Oh, there we go. A legendary war bond is needed. Ah, you have to, okay. That's annoying. Because I would like to get the Master Chief thing. An assault rifle, capacity of 32, recoil, fire rate, medium armor penetrating. But yeah, this has been a fun little game. I should play it a little bit more. Not today, though. Because I do have work. But yeah. We'll definitely be playing this a little bit more, I think, in the future. I haven't played this in like a year. It's a fun game. Definitely. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a long little day. Covered some videos. I may be back on for a stream tomorrow, even though I know I've been doing Sunday, Monday, Wednesday is the official schedule, but, man, ADHD meds, they actually give you motivation to go out and do stuff. Ironic! Like, seriously, ever since I've been on ADHD meds, I've felt like a ton more productive, and I've just been getting a little bit more pep in my step to do all sorts of things. So, yeah. We'll definitely have to figure out a couple of days for gaming night, and then we'll figure out, some other videos and things we'll be watching. I got some other tech projects I need to cover and everything, but the honest truth is I need to get, I spent so much money repairing the house and stuff, so I'm gonna have to probably, build up some money for that, which is also why I've been grinding the content hard, so I can actually do a lot of the tech stuff that I want to do, that I know some of y'all are actually interested in. Most of y'all, because I'm from my tech content. But, yeah. Oh yeah, and by the way, I officially met a rep from TikTok, so I handed over my list of the 130 some odd imposter accounts that I found, and they're actually taking a look at it, and yeah, TikTok's actually taking a serious approach with trying to work more with creators and everything. It's kind of interesting. So, actually got to talk with somebody inside TikTok and get some insights to different things. Yeah. It's been interesting. I never intended to be a content creator, but here I am. But you buy me the game? You've been looking more into running cubes. We can talk about it a little bit more. I do plan to have some YouTube content around cubes and things like that. I've run cubes as a daily operating system in one of my laptops for 5. I've been running cubes for like 7-8 years now. Huh. That one laptop I've been having though is about 5 years old though. The latest one, but I've been running it for like close to 8 years. It's really interesting. Oh yeah, it's really interesting, and you have to like rethink how you approach computers and stuff like that when you're talking about Cubes OS. It is, yeah. Yeah, that was a very old TikTok. That was when I've already been using it for a few years, so Cubes is still one of my most favorite operating systems. It's just not ideal for daily driving everything. Pop OS is my go-to for daily driving everything. And then I have a mix of like Parrot OS and Debian, as I've talked about on my other laptops, because depending on what I want to do and things. But we can get into that a little bit more. Oh, God, what did you put? Every time you're like, Chief, look in Discord. I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God, what the hell did you send me? What is this?
Losing track of time. They used to teach down on Sesame Street. Things done got wild. Big birds cooking meth with a crazed out smile.
What the hell?
So fine. Snorting up that cocaine, losing track of time. They used to teach us letters, now they're teaching sin. My kids watch this show, Lord, where do I begin? Big bird got loud in his nest up high, whipping up that crystal feathers floating in the sky. Elmo's eyes are bugging, he's tweaking on the street, dancing with a pipe, yelling, tickle this, you freak.
What the hell? What? What was that? Like, you definitely have to be on one to think about like something like that. Like, I am just like, what? I don't know how to process that. My brain went burp. My brain went dirt. Ugh. God damn. Oh. Yeah. Well, I am going to be calling it a night, and make sure if you haven't already to follow me on all of my socials, my YouTube, my Twitch, my TikTok, my Blue Sky, my Mastodon, and then don't forget to join the Discord server and the Matrix server if you want to hang out in a nice community and chat around. And I may be back on for a stream tomorrow. We shall see. No guarantee. Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday are my official days that we stream. But yeah, we'll have a mix of other videos to watch. I'll probably grab tomorrow. And then we'll probably do some more Helldivers. It's a nice game to jump into and watch me suck. But thank you all for hanging out with me. I love all of you. Stay safe. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. I may see y'all tomorrow. If not, for sure, Sunday. We'll be back. Sunday, I'll try to get on earlier, so we might do another one of those 8-hour streams. Oh, right. We have Labor Day, don't we? So I might get on a little earlier on Monday as well for a Labor Day stream, because I won't be working, so thank you all for joining. Happy hacking. See you around.